Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the afternoon session will resume shortly. Kindly please take your seats. Thank you.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the meeting is called to order. We shall continue with agenda item 2A, general debate. But before we start our proceedings, let me call on the Secretariat to make an announcement.
Thank you, Chair. Very good afternoon to all distinguished delegates. I would like just to remind all delegations that at this session, the Commission will be electing the governing councils of the Asian and Pacific Training Center for Information and Communication Technology for Development, APC-ICT, the Asian and Pacific Center for Development of Disaster Information Management, APDIM, the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization, CSAM, and the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific, SIAP. As stipulated in the statute of the four centers, in addition to the host countries, namely the Republic of Korea for APCICT, the Islamic Republic of Iran for ABDIM, China for CSAM, and Japan for SIAP, the Commission will elect 8 additional members for each of the governing councils. Nominations have been received from the following delegations. For APCICT, Bangladesh, Cambodia, India, Kazakhstan, the Philippines, the Russian Federation, Thailand, and Uzbekistan. For ABDIM, Bangladesh, Cambodia, India, Kazakhstan, Macau, China, Maldives, Mongolia, Pakistan, Turkey, and Uzbekistan. For CSAM, Cambodia, India, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Mongolia, Pakistan, Philippines, Republic of Korea, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Uzbekistan, and Vietnam. For SIAP, Cambodia, China, Georgia, India, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Mongolia, Pakistan, Philippines, Republic of Korea, Samoa, and Thailand. Candidates were invited to issue statements indicating their aims, visions, and/or commitments as members of the Governing Council should they be elected to the Council. The statements received have been circulated to all member states and are also available on the Commission website under the tab Elections of the GCs. The elections will take place tomorrow morning from 11 to 13 hours in Conference Room 1. Should there be a need for a second round of balloting, this is tentatively scheduled to be held on Wednesday, 23rd of April 2025 from 11 to 13 hours in Conference Room 1 as well. Conference Room 1 is the one next door. This is the ESCAP hall, and Conference Room 1 is just the one next door. The confirmation of the time and venue for the second round, if required, would be made in plenary during the session. In accordance with paragraph 6 of the Commission's terms of reference, associate members are not entitled to vote. However, paragraph 7 stipulates that associate members are eligible to be appointed as members of any committee or subsidiary body and shall be eligible to vote and hold office in such body. Voting will be by secret ballot, and ballot papers will be provided in the election room. All members in attendance are kindly requested to cast their votes. And a reminder to all the nominees, please remember to vote for yourself. I thank you, Chair.
Secretary, thank you, Secretary of the Commission. I would like to urge all speakers to adhere to the time limit of 5 minutes to ensure we can hear from all those participating. I also would like to remind delegations that in case of a longer statement, you may only deliver the summary version and provide the Secretariat with the full statement for sharing through the Commission website. Based on the requests received, Secretariat has prepared a tentative list of speakers. In order to maintain order and for delegations to be ready to take the floor, when I call on the speaker, I will also announce the 2 delegations next in line. Delegations called upon to speak would speak from the podium. I now open the floor for country statements. I give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Amanatha Nasir, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia.
Thank you, Chairperson. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, let me begin by expressing Indonesia's deep condolences on the recent devastating earthquake in Myanmar that has affected the people of Myanmar and Thailand. Chairperson, Indonesia is pleased to be among the big family of Asia Pacific. Our region is dynamic and diverse. Through dialogue and cooperation and platforms such as ESCAP, APEC, and ASEAN, our region has contributed to global peace, stability, and prosperity. Asia Pacific has also been the engine of global economic growth. However, today, our region is facing its greatest challenge. Fractures ripple through our region. Geopolitical rivalries and trade war escalating. Climate crisis intensifying. Collective progress towards the SDGs at great risk. Meanwhile, multilateralism has weakened. Global trust deficit is in great abundance. International order is heading towards a slippery slope of disorder. This is a grim reality facing Asia Pacific. Our ability to unite and act swiftly and concretely will determine the future of our region. In this context, let me highlight 3 points. First, we need to renew our commitment to multilateralism. All countries need to consistently uphold international law, and the UN Charter. The United Nations remain an important platform to finding solutions and cure for the many global ills and challenges. However, after 80 years in existence, we must recognize there is an urgent need to reform the UN and the multilateral system, to make it more efficient, responsive, and agile, to better represent today's reality and the voice of the Global South, to better ensure global equity, including in accessing international financial system. The Asia-Pacific nations must call for a global dialogue at the forefront and be at the forefront for reforming the multilateral system. Second, we need shared action for SDGs and not merely shared aspiration. Indonesia is fully committed to the timely attainment of the SDGs. Our SDG achievements stands at 61.4%, far beyond the global average. We have not only integrated the SDGs into our national development planning agenda, but also incorporated the role of Indonesia's Supreme Audit Authority to ensure greater transparency, accountability, and good governance at all stages of the development process. This ensures confidence in our voluntary national review reports and minimizes discrepancies with progress on the ground. With ESCAP support, Indonesia is engaging on a peer learning exchange with the Philippines on a VNR development. We encourage ESCAP to scale up this initiative and other SDG capacity building program. Third, we must address the widening financing gap with urgency and innovation. We are entering a new era of shrinking global development aid, rising public debt, narrowing fiscal space. In our region, small island states in the Pacific borne the brunt of these changes. While we call on our developed partners to meet their international development obligations, moving forward, we must advance innovative financing, including through SDG bonds, pooled regional instruments, and blended finance. South-South and Triangle cooperation must also be turbo boost, in particular to support our Pacific Island members. Indonesia is fully adhere to the belief that responsibility must be shared, and above all, it must be fair. Chairperson, today, the role of ESCAP is ever more critical. ESCAP must not only help align national policy with global development agenda, but also assist member navigate the current geopolitical and geoeconomic challenges. ESCAP must also be the voice of Asia Pacific and be an effective platform for collaboration and reform. Indonesia remains committed to advancing the work of ESCAP with a renewed spirit of multilateralism. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Excellency. I now call on Mr. Paisan Rupanikichi, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Thailand, to take the podium, please.
Mr. Chairperson, Excellency, distinguished delegates, as we convene the 81st session, it is important to acknowledge rapid developments impacting every aspect of our lives, from the unrelenting impacts of the climate change to the rapid pace of technological progress. The Asia-Pacific region is also experiencing profound demographic changes, from a rapidly aging population to growing urbanization. The ESCAP 2025 Asia and the Pacific SDG Progress Report highlight our region's progress toward achieving the SDGs. However, significant concern remain across of the goals, particularly the SDG 13 on climate actions. The year 2024 has set a new and alarming precedent, as is the hottest years on record. This underlying the urgencies of implementing effective mitigation and adaptation measures, including the investment in climate and disaster resilient infrastructure, as well as the early warning system. On our part, Thailand is committed towards a low carbon society. Is reflected in our efforts to expand a renewable energy capacity, including by promoting adoption of solar roof within our communities. Thailand is determined to reduce emission from the transport sector, including by promoting the use of clean energies, greater use of public transportation, and enhancing energy efficiencies. As a key initiative in this regard is the expansion of our rail transport network across the country. Excellencies, in light of the significant demographic changes in many countries across our regions, we must prioritize inclusive urban development. Thailand recognizes the importance of building caring communities that are supportive of older people to accommodate the health-related needs arising from an aging society. Thailand continues to improve our universal health coverage, including through the use of telemedicine. In the age of digital, it is important to leverage the digital innovation to improve the effectiveness of public services deliveries and to ensure that no one is left behind. Thailand is committed to developing digital infrastructure and promoting access to digital technology to facilitate economic and social opportunity for all. Excellencies, inclusive and sustainable development will remain a distant goal unless we prioritize the SDG localization, where the local communities play a key role in driving the achievements of the SDG. In recognition of this, Thailand placed importance on public participation, whereby the citizens contribute to identifying their community development needs and formulate their own solution. We must also leverage innovative financing mechanism. Thailand introduced a sustainability-linked bond, the first of its kind in Asia. It's an innovative approach aimed at reducing greenhouse emissions and promoting green and just transition. Partnership and multi-stakeholder collaboration remain critical for financing and achieving sustainable development as a whole. Thailand private sector has demonstrated strong leadership in corporate sustainability, highlighting public-private partnerships as a powerful tool for advancing the SDG. Chairperson, last but not least, regional cooperation, including South-South and triangular cooperation, is very essential. For the past 6 years, Thailand and ESCAP has organized the Asia Pacific Director General Forum on South-South and Triangular Cooperation, or APDC, to facilitate dialogue, fostering knowledge sharing, and promoting peer learning. Last year, the APDG was held under the theme Resilience and Sustainable Urban Development through South-South Cooperation to address the important issue of urbanization. This Thursday, on 24th of April, Thailand will organize a study tour for representatives from small island developing states to visit a housing development project for low incomes. We call it บ้านมั่นคง And this project demonstrates the tangible fulfillment of the SDG 3, 6, 11, and 17. I myself will join this study tour. Excellency, with just only 5 years remaining to fulfill our ambitions set out in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, we must continue to work together with optimism, determination to fully implement the SDG for our world, for our own future, and for our future generation. I thank you, Chair.
And I'll call on Her Excellency Ms. Millicent Cruz Paredes, Ambassador and Permanent Representative to the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, Philippine Embassy in Bangkok, of the Philippines.
Mr. Chair, Madam Deputy Executive Secretary, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The theme for this session resonates deeply with our country's vision to achieve a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient society. Today, I will share the key policy challenges we are addressing and our efforts to contribute toward the attainment of shared regional goals. The Philippines is undergoing rapid urbanization while striving to make cities inclusive and sustainable. Guided by the Philippine Development Plan for 2023 to 2028, our goal is to create livable communities that provide equitable access to opportunities and robust infrastructure. The Pambansang Pabahay para sa Pilipino program, or the National Housing for Filipinos program, seeks to address the housing backlog by constructing a minimum of 3 million housing units by 2028. While the Build Better More program focuses on improving connectivity and urban mobility through sustainable transport solutions such as the Metro Manila Subway project. As a country that is vulnerable to climate change, we are taking steps and implementing measures to strengthen resilience and adaptability. Our national greening program has successfully reforested over 2 million hectares, contributing to carbon sequestration and biodiversity conservation. Additionally, the Climate Resilient Cities Initiative, along with the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act of 2010, supports local governments in integrating climate adaptation measures and enhancing disaster preparedness and response within urban development planning. Sustainable development must leave no one behind. Our goals include reducing poverty incidence by 8.8% by 2028. Initiatives such as the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program or Bridging Program for Filipino Families offer conditional cash transfers to improve health, education, and nutrition outcomes for underprivileged and marginalized families. Furthermore, gender-responsive budgeting and inclusive education reforms, such as the alternative learning system for out-of-school youth, promote and ensure equitable access to opportunities. We also recognize the transformative power of innovation and ICT. Our e-government master plan aims to digitalize public services to enhance efficiency and transparency. We are establishing innovation hubs and fostering partnership between academia and industry to drive research and development in priority sectors, aiming to elevate our Global Innovation Index ranking to the top 33% by 2028. Middle-income countries, or MICs, which account for 75% of the world's population and 1/3 of the world's GDP, are formidable champions of sustainable development. However, these nations continue to face development challenges compounded by cross-cutting and multidimensional global realities such as climate change, conflict, and displacement. For this reason, the Philippines, as a middle-income country, has tabled a resolution on advancing the sustainable development of middle-income countries during this session. This resolution calls on the UN Development System and the international community to provide tailored support to MICs, leveraging the mandate established by the UN General Assembly resolution on MICs. Within this context, we will host the high-level conference on middle-income countries next week in Manila. This conference will bring together stakeholders to advance strategic actions and foster regional cooperation in tackling the challenges faced by the MICs. It will also highlight the importance of South-South and triangular cooperation as complementary mechanisms to North-South cooperation in building stronger global partnerships. We highlight the important role of multilateral development banks in working with governments and stakeholders in supporting sustainable development in developing countries, including middle-income countries. This includes finding clear solutions to reducing debt stress and extending concessional financing, among others. We need to realign our programs and initiatives to address the specific needs and requirements of different countries. This marks a departure from a one-size-fits-all approach and aligns with the United Nations call for a greater cooperation, greater operational efficiency, scalability, and impact. We commend ESCAP for its initiatives relevant to MICs, which include promoting measures that extend beyond GDP, facilitating resource mobilization, and addressing vulnerabilities. The Commission has contributed significantly to shaping strategies that are aligned with our developmental goals. We have greatly benefited from ESCAP and its initiatives, which have strengthened our efforts and empowered us in areas such as disaster risk reduction, digital trade integration, and sustainable urban development. We encourage ESCAP to continue its focus on the diverse circumstances of MICs to ensure that progress toward higher income status is equitable and sustainable. The Philippines reiterates its commitment to advancing inclusive and sustainable development. We stand ready to work with ESCAP member states in building a future that is resilient, inclusive, and sustainable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. Our next speaker is His Excellency Mr. Samir Zarifov, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Azerbaijan.
Dear Mr. Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to address this year's session of ESCAP under the theme Resilient and Sustainable Urban Development that stands at the heart of the Sustainable Development Goals and strongly reflects Azerbaijan's vision for the inclusive, innovative, and climate-resilient growth. Our wider Asia-Pacific region, with over 2.2 billion people in urban areas, including some of the world's largest cities, now find itself at a critical crossroads. Rapid growth has opened new economic prospects, but also raised serious challenges ranging from the climate threats to socio-economic issues. This reality calls for the closer regional cooperation if we are to achieve our shared agendas, such as the 2030 Agenda, the Paris Agreement, and the new Urban Agenda. Strategically located at the crossroads of Asia and Europe, Azerbaijan has experienced rapid urbanization alongside significant economic growth. Recognizing both the opportunities and challenges of the dynamic, our government has developed comprehensive urban plans to ensure that our cities become resilient, sustainable, and inclusive. We believe that urban development fosters broader connectivity, linking infrastructure, trade, and growth opportunities across borders. We also consider the global cooperation as a central mechanism for tackling the climate changes, crisis and advancing sustainable urban development. As the current COP29 presidency, we hosted COP29 in Baku last year. We worked closely with the global community to forge the historical Baku Climate Unity Pact. A key achievement of the pact was the Baku Climate Finance Goal, which is the first negotiated climate finance target for developing countries. It is set to at least triple the previous commitment and reach $300 billion per year by 2035. For this purpose, we launched the Baku to Belém roadmap, directing global efforts to scale up climate finance to $1.3 trillion per year by 2035. This collective achievement shows that international solidarity is indeed possible when we match ambition with real action. Building on this momentum, Azerbaijan introduced 14 global initiatives at COP29 to catalyze process key areas such as clean energy, food security, healthy cities, improved water systems, and resilient communities. These initiatives reflect our firm belief that progress depends on a broad-based partnership extended well beyond governments, bringing together investors, the private sector, and civil society. In line with the ESCAP focus on inclusive growth and social well-being, the COP29 presidency launched the Baku Initiative on Human Development for Climate Resilience, making the first ever Human Development Day in UNFCCC history. This initiative brought together leaders from education, health, social protection, decent jobs, and skills training, highlighting human development as essential for climate resilience. It produced the Baku Guiding Principles on Human Development for Climate Resilience, endorsed by the UN agencies, multilateral banks, and climate funds, and established the Baku COP Presidency Continuity Coalition for Climate and Health. During the COP29, we also introduced a key urbanization initiative, the Multi-Sectoral Action Pathway for Resilient and Healthy Cities. This holistic approach merges health, sustainability, and technology to strengthen urban resilience. It calls for the stronger collaboration among UN agencies, development banks, and others to effectively mobilize resources. Azerbaijan has been an active contributor within the UN Special Program for the Economies of Central Asia, SPECA, advocating for sustainable and climate-resilient urban development. A highlight was the signing of a Baku Declaration on SPECA Climate Smart Cities Forum during the COP29. We also formed the Baku Continuity Coalition on urban climate action with Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Brazil, and UN Habitat, bringing multiple COP presidencies to maintain global attention on urban resilience and encourage future climate summits to prioritize city-based solutions. The coalition fosters continuous dialogue and coordinated action on urbanization and climate change, highlighting our shared commitment to shaping a future of cities through collaboration and innovation. Our approach to resilient and sustainable urban development relies on comprehensive innovation. Azerbaijan promotes green building standards, invests in low-emission transport, and encourages digital government to create efficient, people-centered urban environments. We welcome ESCAP's regional smart city guidelines, aligning with our commitment to digital solutions and greener cities. Recognizing the importance of urban transport for social inclusion and economic progress, Azerbaijan hosted a national workshop on March 2024 with ESCAP. The workshop tackled accessibility, affordability, and safety issues, aiming to develop innovative mobility solutions that foster equitable social economic development. In the context of normalization of the relations that was referred today during the statement of one delegation between Armenia and Azerbaijan, I wanted to confirm that the negotiations over the text of the agreement on establishment of the peace and interstate relations between Armenia and Azerbaijan have been concluded. But what the Armenian side calls as a precondition is nothing more than the long-standing and principled position of Azerbaijan that the amendment to Armenian constitutions to eliminate the claims against the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Azerbaijan is a prerequisite to allow the signing of the negotiated text. I'm confident that it's difficult to find any country around the globe that has constitutional provisions providing the territorial claims against its neighbors. At present, being the central priority of Azerbaijan's national agenda, the large-scale reconstruction and restoration works are being carried out in the liberated territories of Azerbaijan, along with a huge demining activity and investment in advanced demining technology to ensure the safe return of our citizens to homelands. We are committed to rebuilding these territories in a sustainable manner, ensuring that returning residents can benefit from modern infrastructure, renewable energy solutions, and fully restored social services. Looking ahead, we are excited to host two major events that reflect our continuing commitment to build momentum. First, we will welcome the international community to Baku for the 13th World Urban Forum in 2026, convened by UN Habitat. We hope this event become a catalyst for new ideas and stronger partnership to shape healthy, inclusive, and climate-smart cities worldwide. As a further testament to our dedication to multilateral partnership, Azerbaijan has offered to host the 82nd annual session of ESCAP in Azerbaijan next year. We sincerely appreciate the support of the member states for the initiative, and we would be truly honored to welcome you all to Baku, a city that is increasingly recognized as a hub for international cooperation, building bridges between continents, communities, and economies. In conclusion, Azerbaijan reaffirms its strong commitment to shaping resilient, inclusive, and climate-smart cities with our borders and across our wider region. Innovation, global collaboration, and a focus on human well-being can transfer today's urban challenges into tomorrow's successes. The cities of Asia and Pacific can lead this transformation if we plan and act in together. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Excellency, and I'll give the floor to Her Excellency Ms. Serap Esoy, Ambassador of Turkey to Thailand and the Permanent Representative to ESCAP.
Mr. Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, good afternoon to you all. It's a privilege to speak on behalf of the Republic of Turkey at this important session. As Asia and the Pacific undergo unprecedented urban growth, the demand for cities that are resilient, inclusive, and sustainable grows stronger. With its constantly growing urban population and the megacity of Istanbul, Turkey aligns fully with this vision. Our urban and transport policies are shaped by the principles of digitalization, inclusiveness, environmental sustainability, and international cooperation. Let me begin with sustainable urban mobility, a key pillar of resilient urban development. Under the Sustainable and Smart Mobility Strategy of the European Commission and the European Green Deal, Turkey has taken concrete steps. We pioneered the preparation of sustainable urban mobility plans for our key cities under the EU-funded sectoral operational programs. Beyond planning, Turkey has embraced digital transformation in road transport, a critical step toward efficiency and environmental stewardship. All transport authorizations, vehicle and driver processes are now digitized. This shift reduces paperwork, cuts emissions, and enhances cross-border efficiency. We are also proud to be leading regional efforts on digital logistics. Projects like e-permit, e-TER, and ECMR streamline international road transport. Following the successful cooperation with Uzbekistan, other Turkic states have joined these efforts, showing that regional cooperation can yield tangible results in lowering carbon emissions and transport delays. Turkey also supports electrification of transport, promoting electric vehicles through regulatory reforms. And through our e-scooter legislation, we are shifting urban short-distance travel towards cleaner, shared mobility. Mr. Chair, urban resilience also means ensuring that no one is left behind, particularly older persons and persons with disabilities. Turkey is undergoing rapid demographic transition. We acknowledge that aging and disability present cross-cutting challenges for urban development, and we address these with a rights-based, inclusive approach. We base our national efforts on international frameworks and the Jakarta Declaration on the Asian and the Pacific Decade of Persons with Disabilities. Distinguished delegates, Turkey's vision is clear: to build an inclusive society where all individuals, regardless of age or ability, can live with dignity, access opportunities, and participate in public life. To this end, we have implemented comprehensive national strategies, including the 2030 Barrier-Free Vision Development document and its action plan, the Aging Vision document, focused on building an age-friendly society, widespread accessibility audits through accessibility monitoring commissions, which have issued over 3,500 certificates to date, financial and technical support for municipalities to promote accessibility, free public transport for older persons and persons with disabilities, and the ILM, or in other words, My Family Communication Center, which ensures real-time video interpretation for people with hearing disabilities. We believe that accessible infrastructure is not just a social imperative, but it's a fundamental to a sustainable and inclusive urban growth. Ladies and gentlemen, Turkey will continue to build on these efforts with national and international partners. We are ready to share our experiences and learn from others to achieve a shared future where cities across Asia and the Pacific are resilient, inclusive, and sustainable. I thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Now call on His Excellency Mr. Remco van Wijngaarden, Ambassador Extraordinary and the Plenipotentiary and Permanent Representative of Netherlands to ESCAP, to take the podium, please.
Mr. Chair, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for me and an honor to join you for the 81st Commission session of the UN Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. The Asia-Pacific is without doubt a key region in the world, being the world's primary economic growth region and home to 2/3 of the world population. Countries in this part of the world are vital partners in overcoming global challenges when it comes to stability and security, climate and sustainable development. As one of the 2 EU countries members of ESCAP, I am honored to address this year's theme of regional cooperation for resilient and sustainable urban development. This theme is particularly relevant as 2.2 billion people live in urban areas in the Asia Pacific, and we expect this trend of urbanization to continue in the future. As such, it's essential to reach the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030 to ensure that our cities are livable, sustainable, and resilient for the next generations. Regional cooperation is key in this. We are all facing comparable challenges, the Netherlands and the EU included. Growing urbanization, as well as energy and climate-related risks like rising temperatures, flooding, drought, require us to rethink how we design our cities and their infrastructure. This presents us with opportunities to innovate and collaborate. For example, in the Netherlands, a focus area has been to address air pollution. In 2020, the Clean Air Accord was signed by different levels of government. The national government, all provinces, and many municipalities in the Netherlands take part in the Clean Air Accord, and through it are required to take additional steps to improve air quality, like making our cities greener. Not only does this improve air quality, but also it cools down our cities, making them more resilient to rising temperatures. The challenges facing urban development are not limited by borders. Therefore, the Netherlands and the EU seek to solve global challenges together with our ESCAP partners. The EU Indo-Pacific strategy outlines commitment to such collaboration in priority areas such as sustainable and inclusive prosperity, as well as green transition and connectivity. The EU has formed green alliances and partnerships with several ESCAP member states to tackle these challenges together. Urbanization is here to stay and plays a huge role in the development agenda. Only by cooperating and sharing our best practices can we realize sustainable development agendas such as Agenda 2030 or the Paris Agreement. The Netherlands continues to strengthen its cooperation with the Asia Pacific on a bilateral EU and of course here at the UN ESCAP level for the years to come. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, Excellency. I now call on His Excellency Mr. Nasseruddin Haidari, as Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the Islamic Republic of Iran to UN ESCAP.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, at the outset, I would like to congratulate the Chair and the Vice Chairs for their elections. I would also take this opportunity to thank ESCAP, Madam Executive Secretary and Secretariat and the Kingdom of Thailand for the excellent arrangements for the Commission session. We are honored to gather at the 81st session of the Commission for convening this timely discussion on the critical theme of promoting resilient and sustainable urban development in Asia and the Pacific. Urbanization in the Asia-Pacific region continues to accelerate at the unprecedented pace. We believe that rapid urbanization across our region brings with it both promise and peril. Islamic Republic of Iran has made significant efforts to strengthen urban resilience through comprehensive national strategies, including the promotion of renewable energy, sustainable transportation, and climate resilience urban planning. Our cities are engines of economic growth and social innovation, yet they remain exposed to natural hazards, including earthquakes, floods, sand and dust storms, and compounding effects of climate change and unplanned development. Addressing these vulnerabilities require a holistic, multi-sectoral, and forward-looking approach. Many of the Asian and Pacific countries are facing challenges to achieve sustainable development due to increasing vulnerability to natural disasters and equitable access to clean energy and low carbon development. Hardly ever a year passes by without our region not to be severely affected by floods, storms, tsunami, earthquakes, droughts, and sand and dust storms. The existence of these natural disasters drive us towards collective thinking and cooperation. Undoubtedly, ESCAP could provide us with an invaluable opportunity and a reliable multilateral platform to address such disasters and environmental challenges. Mr. Chair, as reflected in the Economic and Social Survey of the Asia and the Pacific for 2025, climate shocks disturbing livelihood and economies in Asia and the Pacific, and many countries in the region are less ready to cope with macroeconomic implications of climate change and low carbon transition. While we collaborate and pursue a common goal, confronting natural disaster for low carbon transition, particularly securing renewable energy, our efforts are often consumed by confrontation, unproductive competition, or monopolies by products of clean energy equipment. Consequently, the use of clean energy sources, which requires substantial investment, is marginalized due to the lack of financing. Moreover, imposing unilateral coercive measures restrict access to cutting-edge knowledge, technology transfer, and international financial markets. The Islamic Republic of Iran continues to face significant challenges, particularly due to the imposition of unilateral, illegal, coercive measures that undermine our capacity to access to technology, financing, and international cooperation mechanisms. We emphasize that development should not be politicized and that all countries must have an equal opportunity to benefit from regional and global partnership. The Islamic Republic of Iran is among the 30 countries in the region mentioned in the SAID survey for 2025 that is more exposed to climate risk from the macroeconomic perspective. Facing this complex situation, we need to act with responsibility and look toward an Asia-Pacific community with a shared future for humanity. In this regard, South-South cooperation, strengthening regional financial institutions to enhance public-private partnership are among the issues that should be prioritized on ESCAP agenda from now on. Mr. Chair, the Islamic Republic of Iran attaches great importance to the role of ESCAP and believes that ESCAP offers a significant opportunity to uphold the principles of amity and inclusiveness with a view to transcending temporary and superficial differences to ensure economic development and prosperous Asia-Pacific community. The Islamic Republic of Iran has incorporated environmental consideration into its national development plans in the field of regional energy cooperation under the 7th Development Plan of the Government of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Priority has been given to the adoption of laws to promote investment in renewable energy, electricity production, and the country's borders with the possibility of exporting to neighboring countries, and setting a quantitative target for electricity exchange with the neighbors at the minimum of 20 billion kilowatt hours annually. In the area of disaster risk reduction, disaster management is a cycle consisting of mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery, the most of which neglected among is preparedness. As the host government of the Asia-Pacific Center for Development of Disaster Information Management, known as APDIM, since 2016, the Islamic Republic of Iran has taken active and constructive approach in disaster management in the Asia-Pacific region through providing voluntary national contribution to this center. APTIM should play a more active role in preparedness through providing timely access to great databases like spatial databases information and geographic databases information to the member states. In this regard, we suggest that cooperation between the ESCAP and UN Committee on the Peaceful Use of Outer Space, known as COPIUS, to be established, especially as space-based technologies become increasingly critical for the sustainable development in the Asia-Pacific. Madam Chair, Excellencies, and ladies and gentlemen, in closing, the Islamic Republic of Iran will firmly support the work of the ESCAP and will work closely and constructively with ESCAP members to identify, assess, and tackle risks such as geopolitical conflicts, unilateral sanctions, and climate change and environmental challenges. The Islamic Republic of Iran also reaffirms its commitment to multilateralism and regional solidarity. We stress that no country should be left behind due to political or economic isolation, and we call upon ESCAP to continue promoting inclusive dialogue and equitable access to resources for all member states. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Excellency. And I'll give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Kirill Logvinov, Director, Department of International Organizations, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation.
Уважаемый господин председатель, уважаемые коллеги, сегодня система международных отношений переживает сложную трансформацию. Необходимо признать, мир стоит перед множеством вызовов. Все более заметны фрагментация торговли, усложнение транспортной логистики, ужесточение протекционистских мер, ухудшение экологической ситуации, а также рост частоты и масштабов природных бедствий. В связи с последним хотел бы выразить от лица нашей страны соболезнования народам Мьянмы и Таиланда по поводу произошедшего недавно землетрясения. Перечисленные выше факторы ведут к ухудшению качества и уровня жизни населения, замедлению глобального экономического роста и ставят под угрозу достижение целей, закрепленных в повестке 2030. Убеждены, что перед лицом катастрофически медленного выполнения целей устойчивого развития в регионе и мире необходимо укрепить международное партнерство в интересах нынешнего и будущего поколений. Важно работать в пользу дальнейшего наращивания регионального сотрудничества, более активного подключения евразийских интеграционных объединений, прежде всего Евразийского экономического союза, Шанхайской организации сотрудничества, Ассоциации государств Юго-Восточной Азии. Выступаем за создание большого евразийского партнерства, призванного обеспечить возможности для максимально взаимовыгодной торгово-экономической кооперации. Говоря об общих задачах по укреплению сотрудничества в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе, нельзя не отметить особую миссию ESCAP. В деятельности комиссии видим значительный потенциал для развития региональной интеграции в контексте реализации повестки 2030. В профильных комитетах комиссии ведется активная работа, направленная на развитие транспортной связуемости, энергетики, торговли, социальной сферы, расширение использования достижений информационно-коммуникационных технологий и цифровизации в целях развития. Результаты этой деятельности дают ощутимый эффект и востребованы государственными членами ESCAP. Как крупнейшая евразийская держава, Россия заинтересована в успешном будущем Азиатско-Тихоокеанского региона и, обладая обширным природным и научно-техническим потенциалом, способна внести значительный вклад в обеспечение устойчивого, всеобъемлющего экономического роста на всем его пространстве. Выступаем за сбалансированный подход к обеспечению доступа к недорогостоящим, надежным, устойчивым и современным источникам энергии для всех. При этом считаем, что переход к низкоуглеродной энергетике не должен осуществляться в ущерб другим важным социально-экономическим задачам мирового развития. Отдельно хотел бы остановиться на транспортной проблематике. Призываем использовать все возможности для наращивания межправительственного сотрудничества в области развития транспортного сообщения в регионе. Повышению устойчивости экономик Азиатско-Тихоокеанского региона будет содействовать также налаживание межрегиональной транспортной связуемости. Следует более полно задействовать в этих целях инструментарии ESCAP и Европейской экономической комиссии ООН. Подчеркиваем значение проблематики информационно-коммуникационных технологий. Цифровые технологии и инновации являются двигателем роста для экономики и общества. Их внедрение улучшает госуправление, повышает конкурентоспособность и укрепляет межотраслевую интеграцию. В этой связи приветствуем усилия по преодолению цифрового разрыва, укреплению соответствующего потенциала стран-членов ESCAP, обеспечению доступа населения АТР, в особенности из числа наименее развитых государств, к передовым информационно-коммуникационным технологиям. Господин председатель, Россия твердо привержена достижению целей устойчивого развития и уверенно движется в сторону их выполнения на национальном уровне. Одним из основных инструментов их достижения является реализация национальных проектов, содержащих ключевые решения, направленные на укрепление экономики страны, обеспечение технологического суверенитета и улучшение жизни граждан. Особое внимание уделяем содействию международному развитию как эффективному механизму решения глобальных и региональных проблем. Россия остается ответственным международным донором. Объем официальной помощи развитию, который наша страна предоставляет странам-реципиентам, составляет около $1 миллиарда США в год. Убеждены, что будущее за конструктивным сотрудничеством на основе многосторонности, равноправия и уважения. Благодарю за внимание.
Thank you, Excellency. Now call on His Excellency Mr. Pham Viet Hung, Ambassador Extraordinary and the Plenipotentiary Permanent Representative of Vietnam to ESCAP.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Excellencies, distinguished delegates. At the outset, I would like to thank ESCAP for its insightful reports, which serve as valuable guidance for our discussion and collective efforts toward building a more sustainable and resilient future. Our region is at a critical juncture. We are facing significant challenges, threatening to reverse our hard-earned development gains. At the same time, we are presented with game-changing opportunities, investment in technology and innovation, digital transformation, along with the development of a resilient and adaptable workforce, offer powerful avenues to accelerate the implementation of the SDGs. To fully seize these opportunities, there is no alternative but to strengthen multilateral cooperation, promote knowledge sharing, and mobilize resources through innovative financing mechanisms. Deeper engagement with the private sector, academia, research institutions, and development partners will also be essential in turning potential into concrete outcomes that benefit all. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Vietnam remains firmly committed to sustainable development, and we are doing our utmost to ensure more inclusive, resilient, and transformative development outcomes. As we prepare for a new stage of development, we have placed our highest priorities on, first, promoting science, technology, innovation, and digital transformation as critical drivers of progress. Second, enhancing human development by investing in education and lifelong learning, advancing gender equality, and social inclusion. Third, fostering green growth to ensure environmental, sustainability, and strengthen our collective response to climate change. In this regard, we look forward to ESCAP's leadership in fostering regional collaboration in 3 strategic areas. First, further strengthening its advisory role and promoting regional cooperation in science, technology, and innovation. This will enable member states to harness technological advancements for sustainable development. We encourage the development of new regional initiatives on emerging technology, including artificial intelligence and other frontier innovations. Second, enhancing information sharing and delivering targeted technical support on emerging issues to ensure that all countries are well equipped to respond effectively to the global challenges. Third, advancing regional initiatives on sustainable and smart urban planning, management, and financing. This includes leveraging science and innovation for effective urban planning and management, as well as adopting diversified and innovative approach to urban financing. Achieving sustainable development requires coordinated actions by strengthening regional cooperation, leveraging innovation, and reaffirming our commitment to multilateralism. We can build a more resilient, inclusive, and prosperous Asia-Pacific region for our future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. I now call on His Excellency Mr. Jean-Claude Boimboff, Ambassador of France to Thailand and Permanent Representative to ESCAP. You may have the podium now.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs de délégation, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, je souhaite à mon tour remercier la CESAP pour l'organisation de notre conférence. Le thème de cette 81e session résonne particulièrement avec les engagements de la France en Asie-Pacifique. Les enjeux actuels et émergents pour un développement inclusif et durable sont au cœur de notre action, en particulier face à la crise climatique, de biodiversité et de pollution qui affecte cette région stratégique. La France œuvre pour des partenariats de souveraineté au service du développement durable en Asie-Pacifique, dans l'esprit du Pacte de Paris pour les peuples et la planète. Nous soutenons aussi les trajectoires nationales qui concilient croissance et préservation des ressources naturelles. Je souhaiterais évoquer plus particulièrement nos actions en matière de transition énergétique, de préservation de la biodiversité de l'océan. En matière de transition énergétique, alors que nous fêtons cette année les 10 ans de l'accord de Paris pour le climat, la France est engagée au sein de plusieurs partenariats et initiatives afin de soutenir le développement des énergies renouvelables et la sortie des énergies fossiles dans la région Asie-Pacifique. Cet engagement se matérialise à différents niveaux. Aux côtés d'autres bailleurs bilatéraux et multilatéraux, la France contribue au partenariat pour une transition énergétique juste, avec notamment l'Indonésie et le Vietnam, qui visent la mobilisation de plus de 25 milliards de dollars de financement public et près de 18 milliards de financement privé pour soutenir la décarbonation des économies de ces pays. Au niveau régional également, nous sommes par exemple engagés dans l'Alliance solaire internationale et l'accélérateur de sortie du charbon que nous coprésidons avec l'Inde. Sur la préservation de la biodiversité, la France œuvre pour lutter contre la déforestation et contribue à conserver, gérer durablement et restaurer les écosystèmes forestiers. C'est une priorité de nos programmes d'aide au développement. Nous le faisons via notre engagement politique et via notre investissement solidaire et durable. La France contribue aux engagements financiers de Glasgow de 2021 et finance des projets pour la protection des forêts tropicales, notamment du bassin Mékong-Bornéo. Nous avons organisé ces dernières années plusieurs sommets pour la planète, tels que le One Planet Summit pour la protection de la biodiversité, le Congrès mondial de la nature ou encore le One Forest Summit, en associant toutes les parties prenantes afin de former des alliances menant à des initiatives concrètes. Nous accompagnons également les pays de la région Asie-Pacifique dans la réalisation de l'objectif de protection de 30% des terres et de 30% des mers à travers la coalition pour la haute ambition pour la nature et les peuples. Enfin, la France est résolument engagée dans la préservation des océans. Cet engagement se traduit par l'accueil et l'organisation avec le Costa Rica de la 3e conférence des Nations Unies sur l'océan à Nice en juin 2025. Cette conférence constituera un moment décisif pour accélérer l'action et mobiliser tous les acteurs pour conserver et exploiter durablement l'océan. L'entrée en vigueur du traité sur la protection de la biodiversité en haute mer, l'accord BBNJ, est un objectif prioritaire en vue de cette conférence. 60 ratifications sont nécessaires. L'engagement de vos autorités est à cet égard crucial et je saisis cette occasion afin de remercier la CESAP et sa secrétaire exécutive pour l'organisation en décembre dernier de consultations régionales sur les océans et les différents ateliers qui permettront de nourrir les échanges que nous aurons à Nice. Il me plaît également de souligner que la France a mis à la disposition de la CESAP un expert en protection des océans. Mesdames et messieurs, cette session appelle aujourd'hui notre attention sur le rôle que peuvent jouer les villes durables dans l'accélération de la mise en œuvre des objectifs de développement durable. L'urbanisation en Asie-Pacifique, où 2 habitants sur 3 vivront en milieu urbain d'ici 2050, constitue un défi majeur. Elle implique de repenser nos villes pour les rendre inclusives, résilientes et neutres en carbone. La France s'est engagée sur cette voie en mobilisant son expertise et ses partenariats à l'international. Nous avons fait de la ville durable un axe fort de notre diplomatie économique et environnementale. La France promeut des infrastructures innovantes, accessibles et décarbonées, comme l'a montré l'organisation des Jeux olympiques et paralympiques de Paris 2024. Ces projets, construits avec 47% d'émissions carbone en moins, montrent que l'on peut bâtir des quartiers entiers en anticipant les exigences climatiques de 2050. En Asie-Pacifique, nous accompagnons des projets à Bangkok, Hanoï, Jakarta ou encore Manille, en soutenant des solutions pour des mobilités bas carbone, des logements durables et des espaces publics inclusifs. Ces coopérations se construisent en mobilisant nos opérateurs comme l'Agence française de développement. Pour conclure, face à l'Agence climatique et sociale, nous croyons qu'aucun pays ne devrait à choisir entre son développement et la préservation de la planète. Je souhaite remercier la CESAP pour son engagement sur l'ensemble de ces sujets, ce qui montre toute la pertinence du multilatéralisme pour répondre à des défis communs. La France continuera d'être un partenaire actif et solidaire dans la construction d'un avenir inclusif et durable pour l'Asie-Pacifique. Et je souhaite que cette session permette des échanges fructueux autour de partenariats pour faire avancer le développement durable. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, Excellency. I now give the floor to Her Excellency Ms. Vijayanti Edirisinghe, Ambassador of Sri Lanka to Thailand and the Permanent Representative to ESCAP.
Honorable Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, at the outset, Sri Lanka extends its warm congratulations to the newly elected Chair and Bureau members of the Commissions. We are confident that under your able leadership, these sessions will produce fruitful outcomes that will guide our region towards a more inclusive and sustainable future. Sri Lanka reaffirmed its commitment to the principle of sustainable development, equality, and the regional solidarity. We commend ESCAP for its continuous commitment to providing a platform for dialogue, cooperations, and actions as we collectively strive to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The visions of the sustainable urban development of Sri Lanka is to provide access to the beautiful cities and a comfortable life to the people by formulating and implementing policies for streamlining urban developments, providing housing and infrastructure facilities, physical planning, development of the construction industries, ensuring access to the water and sanitation facilities, food mitigations and wetland management, land development and condominium management. In this context, under the Ministry of Urban Development of Sri Lanka, the Urban Development Authority has been established to spearhead integrated urban development in Sri Lanka. The UDA is tasked with promoting economic, social, and environment sustainability through strategic planning that are implementing specifically and in a people-friendly manner, emphasizing on reforming system through modern management practices and technology and eliminating corruptions and waste. Sri Lanka has faced unprecedented economic challenges in recent years, culminating in a most severe crisis in the post-independence history. However, this adversity has become a catalyst for a transformative change. Since 2022, the country has implemented a comprehensive microeconomic reform, that public debt restructuring process supported by IMF to address structural vulnerabilities to restore the economic stability. Key legislation such as Central Bank of Sri Lanka Act, Public Financial Management Act, and Anti-Corruption Act have institutionalized economic discipline and transparency while targeting welfare programs like Aswasuma are addressing the need of vulnerable populations. The successful completions of Sri Lanka's debt restructuring has provided much needed fiscal space to invest in essential service and development priorities. Looking forward, Sri Lanka is committed to a new economic trajectory driven by export, productivity, foreign direct investment, and non-debt creating inflows, emphasizing its place on digitalizations, global competitiveness, institutional reform, and improved governance. The government's flagship Clean Sri Lanka program envisages that environmental, social, and ethical re-awakening which embodied the core SDG principle and will no doubt contributions to Sri Lanka's effort to progress its sustainable development. Distinguished delegates, Sri Lanka is determined to seize this movement as an opportunity, not a missed chance, to foster inclusive, sustainable, and resilient growth. Through collective actions, disciplined policymaking, as a shared national vision, Sri Lanka is laying the foundation for the thriving future. Also, launching a national strategy for promote inclusive and sustainable business to align its business landscape with the sustainable development goals. This strategy aims to create a supportive ecosystem for business that integrate social and environmental impact into their core missions. By fostering innovations, business can be better serve undeserved communities, expand market shares, and drive Sri Lanka's transitions toward poverty eradication, carbon neutrality, and a modern, competitive digital economy. Sri Lanka also recognized the central role of regional and sub-regional cooperation, including BIMSTEC, ASEAN, and IORA, in addressing transboundary issues such as climate change, disaster risk reductions, trade facilitations, and migrations. Let us reiterate our collective resolve to accelerating implementation of SDG goals through inclusive and resilient pathways. Sri Lanka stands ready to work with ESCAP and fellow member states in fostering a more equability, peaceful, and sustainable future for Asia and the Pacific. I thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. And I call on Mr. Chapayev Atta, Head of the Department of Development and Finance of Economic Sectors, Ministry of Finance and Economy of Turkmenistan.
Большое спасибо, господин председатель. Уважаемый господин председатель, уважаемые дамы и господа, позвольте мне выразить признательность экономической и социальной комиссии ООН, Азии и Тихого океана за приглашение принять участие на 81-й сессии, а также за высокий уровень ее организации. Для достижения инклюзивного и устойчивого развития в нашей стране проводятся мероприятия, направленные на поэтапное формирование эффективной и индустриально-инновационной экономики, ориентированной на достижение высоких устойчивых темпов роста, сохранение стабильности социальной системы и повышение уровня жизни населения. Твердая приверженность устойчивому и инклюзивному развитию глубоко укоренена в государственной политике и национальных стратегиях нашей страны. Все государственные программы нацелены на достижение устойчивого развития и делают последовательное осуществление цели устойчивого развития в качестве одного из основных приоритетов. Туркменистан сформулировал национальную структуру, реализующую инклюзивную политику и практику, в которой приоритет отдается гендерному равенству и социальной интеграции. Демонстрируя твердую приверженность справедливому развитию всех граждан в целях обеспечения роста материального благосостояния населения, реализуются такие меры, как ежегодное повышение размеров заработной платы, пенсий, пособий, стипендий, предоставление льготного кредитования различным категориям населения страны для покупки жилья. Приоритетными целями развития национальной экономики выступает рост конкурентоспособности, развитие рыночных отношений и переход от сырьевой направленности к развитию перерабатывающих секторов. Основными факторами устойчивого развития являются промышленность, энергетика и строительство. Эти отрасли, как важнейшие отрасли материального производства, оказывают решающее воздействие на развитие производительных сил в обществе и удовлетворение потребностей населения. Основными задачами развития промышленности, энергетики и строительства в нашей стране является всеобъемлющая интеллектуализация производства, переход к инновационному развитию, создание устойчивой основы для дальнейшей диверсификации приоритетных отраслей, внедрение цифровых и зеленых технологий, поддержание объективно обусловленного процесса непрерывного профессионального образования. В Туркменистане особая значимость придается реализации реформ в области улучшения коммуникационных возможностей. Учитывая, что развитие инфраструктуры способствует экономическому росту страны, Туркменистан активно реализует стратегию партнерства в этой сфере, особенно на региональном уровне. Развитие транспортной инфраструктуры является одним из безусловных приоритетов государственной политики Туркменистана. В стране успешно претворяются в жизнь целевые национальные программы, направленные на комплексную модернизацию материально-технической базы транспортно-коммуникационной сферы, расширение действующих и создание новых транспортных коммуникационных сетей, что, несомненно, способствует активной интеграции отечественной транспортной системы в международную коммуникационную инфраструктуру. Создание в стране крупных логистических центров, обеспечивающих региональную координацию мультимодальных перевозок. Формируя свои подходы к развитию транспорта и транспортной инфраструктуры, Туркменистан придерживается позиции, что регион Азии и Тихого океана, включая Центральную Азию, является стратегическим регионом на евразийском пространстве и неотъемлемой важной частью современных глобальных процессов развития. Охрана окружающей среды, борьба с изменением климата и рациональное использование природных ресурсов стали глобальными вызовами, которые требуют объединения усилий всех стран мира. Этим вызовам уделяется особое внимание и в Туркменистане. Политика нашего государства в области охраны окружающей среды и борьбы с изменением климата включает в себя постоянные шаги по укреплению международного сотрудничества и реализации новых проектов в этой сфере. В стране реализуются масштабные программы, направленные на охрану окружающей среды и борьбу с изменением климата. Мы активно поддерживаем международные усилия в этой области и являемся активными участниками рамочной конвенции ООН об изменении климата и Парижского соглашения. В рамках национальной стратегии Туркменистана по изменению климата, обновленной в 2019 году, наши усилия сосредоточены на снижении выбросов парниковых газов и на адаптацию к изменению климата. Национальная стратегия стала основой для разработки определяемого на национальном уровне вклада Туркменистана, утвержденного президентом Туркменистана в мае 2022 года. В текущем году разрабатываются новые мероприятия для включения их в обновленный план действий. В 2023 году на 28-й сессии конференции сторон РКИК ООН президент Туркменистана объявил о присоединении Туркменистана к глобальному метановому обязательству и готовности нашей страны продолжать сотрудничество с международными организациями и государственными партнерами в этом направлении. Одним из ключевых шагов и реализации ОНУ стало создание в июне 2023 года Межотраслевой комиссии Туркменистана по сокращению выбросов метана, которая координирует усилия в различных секторах экономики, как от нефтегазового, начиная от нефтегазового сектора до сельского хозяйства, с целью внедрения современных технологий и выявления и устранения утечек метана. В ноябре 2024 года Кабинетом министров Туркменистана была принята дорожная карта по укреплению международного сотрудничества Туркменистана на период 2025-2026 годы в области сокращения выбросов метана. Для практической реализации дорожной карты был разработан и утвержден комплекс мероприятий по тесному сотрудничеству с международными партнерами, в частности, с секретариатом РКИК ООН, другими специализированными учреждениями ООН, ИРЭНа, Всемирным банком, Азиатским банком развития, Исламским банком развития и многими другими. В настоящее время ведется соответствующая работа по разработке совместной программы по снижению выбросов метана между правительством Туркменистана и Организацией Объединенных Наций на период 2025-2029 годы. В завершение своего выступления хотел бы сказать, что Туркменистан активно поддерживает все направления экономического сотрудничества, включая направление по реализации целей повестки 2030 и продолжит способствовать развитию региональной интеграции и будет проводить полномасштабное, всеобъемлющее эффективное сотрудничество со всеми государствами, участниками ESCAP. Большое спасибо за внимание.
Thank you. I now call on Mr. Thaddeus Ho Kai-Young, Deputy Director General, International Organizations Directorate, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Singapore.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I begin by expressing Singapore's warm appreciation to ESCAP and the government of Thailand for hosting us in the beautiful city of Bangkok. The 81st session of the Commission takes place in tumultuous times. Amidst heightened unpredictability and intensified challenges to multilateralism, the world is struggling to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. In Asia, the picture is mixed. While progress has been made to improve sustainable industrialization, economic productivity and innovation, and health, other issues such as loss of biodiversity and resilience to disasters remains a challenge. The loss of lives and damage caused by the earthquake which impacted Myanmar and Thailand on 28 March 2025 is a stark reminder of the need for such resilience. And the Singapore government extends its condolences and sympathies to all who have been affected. It is also timely that this session is convened under the theme Regional Cooperation for Resilient and Sustainable Urban Development in Asia and the Pacific. Sustainable and resilient urban development is an issue of importance for Singapore. This is why Singapore convenes the biennial World City Summit, a platform for government officials, industry experts, and thought leaders to exchange best practices to enhance the livability and sustainability of cities. Under Singapore's Green Plan 2030, an important focus area is resilient future, to start preparations now to deal with climate change impacts that will last into the next century. One key project that Singapore has embarked on is the Long Island Project, a land reclamation initiative of the east coast of Singapore aimed at A, coastal protection, by acting as a barrier against rising sea levels, B, water security by creating an inland reservoir to enhance freshwater supply, and C, urban development by providing space for a variety of new uses. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, it is critical that we double down on our efforts to foster a stable international environment conducive for sustainable development. Despite being an alternative energy disadvantaged country, Singapore remains firmly committed to achieving net zero emissions by 2050. As part of our 2035 nationally determined contribution submitted to the UNFCCC on 10 February 2025, Singapore will further reduce emissions to between 45 and 50 million tons of carbon dioxide in 2035. This keeps Singapore on a linear target to meet our net zero target in 2050. Singapore is also committed to providing innovative green and transition financing solutions for our region. In 2023, Singapore launched the Financing Asia's Transition Partnership, or FAST-P, a blended finance initiative which aims to catalyze up to $5 billion from concessional and commercial capital providers to support Asia's green transition financing. At COP29 in Baku in November 2024, Singapore announced our commitment of up to $500 million in concessional funding to support FAST-P. The initiative is gaining momentum, with Australia also announcing a $75 Australian contribution to FAST-P. Singapore is also committed to working with ESCAP to help fellow developing countries address common challenges. From Singapore's experience, the sharing of best practices and expertise has a multiplier effect. Under the Singapore Cooperation Programme, we have trained more than 155,000 officials in areas such as climate adaptation and mitigation, disaster risk management, and digitalization. In 2023, under the SCP, Singapore also launched the Sustainability Action Package, focusing on resilience building strategies, green project management and financing, and carbon market development. Singapore also recognizes the importance of robust statistical systems for the effective monitoring and reporting of progress on sustainable development. We are honored to serve as chair of the 9th session of the Committee on Statistics at ESCAP. Singapore participates actively in ESCAP's initiatives to promote data governance and best practices. We commend ESCAP's efforts in developing a data governance framework for sharing country experiences, which are valuable for national statistical officers, and appreciate the technical support by the ESCAP Secretariat to help countries improve the collection and analysis of climate change-related statistics. Singapore also welcomes ESCAP's continued engagement in the Singapore International Energy Week, a key platform to advance regional energy dialogue and collaboration. One area of promise is the development of an interconnected ASEAN power grid to enhance energy security, affordability, and sustainability. The enhancement of key multilateral cross-border energy trade initiatives, such as the Lao PDR Thailand-Malaysia-Singapore Power Integration Project, are important steps which will reinforce our broader efforts to realize the ASEAN power grid and more integrated ASEAN economic community. ESCAP's support for integrated energy planning, regulatory harmonization, and technical cooperation among Asia-Pacific countries will be instrumental in building resilient, interconnected, and sustainable energy systems across our region. In closing, allow me to affirm Singapore's strong support for ESCAP's mandate and its central role in helping Asia and the Pacific achieve sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll give the floor to Ms. Paulomi Tripathi, Deputy Chief of Mission and Deputy Permanent Representative to ESCAP of India.
Mr. Chair, Excellencies, distinguished guests, very good afternoon. I would like to congratulate at the outset the Chair and the Vice Chairs of the 81st session of the Commission on their election and reaffirm my delegation's full support to their work during the session. I would like to take this opportunity also to thank the Kingdom of Thailand and the Secretariat for the excellent arrangements for this meeting. I would like to convey our deepest condolences to those who have lost their lives in the recent devastating earthquake in Myanmar and in Thailand. India has been providing urgent humanitarian assistance to the people of Myanmar in the aftermath of this catastrophe. We remain ready to support both countries in their efforts to recover from the disaster. Excellencies, almost 10 years after the adoption of SDGs, it is now established that at the current rate of implementation, Asia Pacific is most likely to miss the target year of 2030 by several decades. This compels us to think differently and strengthen partnerships across the region and beyond. As the countries in Asia Pacific region strive to recover from economic shocks and navigate developmental challenges, inclusive and sustainable development remain at the heart of national and regional strategies. Urbanization is a key driver of SDG implementation as it offers opportunities for growth and innovation. India is experiencing a steady shift from rural to urban living. Effectively managing this urban transition is therefore a critical aspect of our development journey. India's urbanization process is progressively becoming more and more decentralized, driven not only by the metropolitan cities but also by smaller towns and the transformation of rural areas into urban centers. To address the unique challenges associated with rapid urbanization, the Smart Cities Mission was launched in India in 2015 to enhance the functionality of cities through using emerging innovations by improving service delivery, transportation, and environmental aspects. Through concerted efforts, significant progress have been made in many areas, including improving water supply and sanitation. Programs focusing on rejuvenation of water bodies, groundwater management, and improving water recycling capacities in urban areas have been prioritized to build resilience. This year's theme of the Commission, therefore, is timely and vital for India. We look forward to learning from the experiences of others. Mr. Chair, for India, the 2030 Agenda remains the cornerstone of our development policies, reflecting our abiding commitment to leave no one behind. In a diverse country like India, with multiplicity of challenges at local levels, progress in achieving the SDGs has been possible through effective localization. Today, there are frameworks in place at local levels to leverage data-driven monitoring across various thematic areas and for evidence-based decision-making suited to local conditions. Over the last decade, millions of people in India have been able to escape multidimensional poverty, demonstrating that sustainable development can indeed be successful. Much of this can be attributed to effective localization and integrating it with efforts at the national level. We are ready to share our experiences from this journey with the partner countries in the region. Digital innovation has proven to be a powerful tool for the implementation of 2030 Agenda. Recognizing its transformative potential, India is actively employing digital innovations across sectors encompassing governance, finance, urban development, healthcare, and education, thereby fostering inclusion, transparency, and efficiency in service delivery and reducing inequality. The unified payment system has revolutionized financial access in India due to increasing digital penetration in local areas in banking, financial services, and insurance sector. Today, over 95% of the banking payment transactions are digital. We are creating digital templates that are replicable elsewhere, and we stand ready to share our learnings from these population-scale digital public infrastructures with the world. India is sharing some digital public infrastructure solutions and undertaking various other development projects in the spirit of South-South cooperation with many countries. Many of these are being done through grant assistance. The India-UN Development Partnership Fund is one of the many platforms through which we are forging our development partnerships with developing countries, especially with the small island developing states, landlocked developing countries, and the least developed countries. There is a kiosk outside for those who are interested, which showcases some of the initiatives undertaken through the India-UN Development Partnership Fund. Another aspect of India's development journey has been focusing on unlocking women's leadership to drive progress. There has been a significant focus on gender-based budgeting in recent years, and with sustained efforts, women's participation in labor force has risen considerably. Narrowing gender gap in financial access to the digital innovation has helped in sustaining this trend. In the urban sector, innovative government schemes have prioritized women's ownership of houses, thereby giving them assets and financial security. Post-pandemic, India has prioritized the need of the informal sector workers and those engaged in micro, small and medium enterprises by extending interest-free loans, helping them to stabilize and grow their businesses. Significant number of the beneficiaries of these initiatives are women and those who live in the urban areas, making our cities more inclusive and resilient. While we remain focused on inclusive and sustainable development in India, we are committed to fulfill our responsibilities to address the global challenges. On climate action, India has fulfilled its commitments under the Paris Agreement on green energy 9 years ahead of the 2030 target. India has also launched initiatives like International Solar Alliance, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, and Global Biofuels Alliance, fostering climate cooperation at a regional and global scale. Our cities are increasingly vulnerable to disasters, and many of these are climate-induced. Regional cooperation is vital for developing effective strategies for urban climate adaptation and resilience. Given this region's vulnerabilities, India prioritizes disaster risk reduction. In July 2024, India has assumed chairmanship of Asian Disaster Preparedness Center, an intergovernmental organization focused on disaster resilience in the Asia Pacific. As a participant in the Urban Act project, India supports low-carbon, resilient and just urban development in the region. Solidarity is key to our efforts to succeed. India, on its part, has taken initiative through the Voice of Global South Summit to amplify the voices and aspirations of the developing world. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate that SDGs can be achieved only through collective efforts at local, national, and international levels in a cohesive and integrated manner. India, for its part, will continue to work in the spirit of solidarity to translate our collective aspirations into tangible progress for all. We look forward to continuing our close cooperation with ESCAP and the wider UN system in this endeavor. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alomi. I now give the floor to Ms. Faisa Asif, Councillor and Deputy Permanent Representative to ESCAP from Pakistan.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, at the outset, Pakistan aligns itself with the overarching theme of this 81st session, Regional Cooperation for Resilient and Sustainable Urban Development in Asia and the Pacific. We recognize that inclusive and sustainable development is the cornerstone for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and ensuring that no one is left behind. Mr. Chair, we have gathered today at a critical time. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which offers a roadmap to transform our world, is far from realization. The implementation of SDGs is halted and reversed by the series of shocks suffered by the global economy. The COVID-19 pandemic, the more frequent and more devastating impacts of climate change, and the conflicts raging across the world. The gap between rich and poor is growing. The development gains on reducing poverty and hunger have been reversed. The debt burden for developing countries has increased manifold. Financing for development has not improved. The need for inclusive and sustainable development in order to address these multifaceted challenges faced by the world and our region cannot be overemphasized. Mr. Chair, Asia and the Pacific is home to more than half of the world's population and is a dynamic engine of global economic growth. However, this growth has been accompanied by complex challenges. These challenges have underscored the urgent need for integrated, forward-looking policies that promote sustainable and inclusive development. One of the most significant emerging policy issues in Asia and the Pacific is the rapid pace of urbanization. Our region is witnessing unprecedented growth of urban populations, which presents both opportunities and challenges. Pakistan has the highest rate of urbanization in South Asia and has nearly half of the country's population living in cities. We are prioritizing integrated urban planning, the development of affordable housing, and the expansion of basic services such as water, sanitation, and public transport to ensure that urban growth is managed sustainably and inclusively. Mr. Chair, it is essential to ensure that the benefits of economic growth reach all segments of society. Pakistan has instituted a social protection policy framework to focus our efforts for a harmonized approach for all Pakistanis. Benazir Income Support Program, formerly known as ESAS program, for the poor is our landmark social security and poverty alleviation program aimed at the welfare of the people. In the digital age, technology and innovation are powerful enablers of inclusive and sustainable development. Pakistan is investing in digital infrastructure, e-governance, and innovative ecosystems to improve service delivery and tap the economic opportunities. Mr. Chair, achieving inclusive and sustainable development requires adequate funding. We would like to emphasize the importance of international support, including concessional financing and technology transfer to assist developing countries in overcoming financial constraints. In this context, Pakistan believes that the upcoming 4th International Conference on Financing for Development, being held in June 2025 in Spain, can play an important role. We are hopeful for a successful outcome of this important conference. Mr. Chair, despite multifold challenges, Pakistan has embedded the principles of sustainable development into our Vision 2025 and our 5 E's National Economic Transformation Plan. The 5 E's plan, encompassing exports, e-Pakistan, environment and climate change, energy and infrastructure, and equity and improvement, aims to create a holistic and integrated approach to sustainable development. However, no country can address these challenges in isolation. These efforts demand global effort. Pakistan underscores the critical importance of our regional cooperation as a catalyst for sharing best practices and mobilizing resources for inclusive and sustainable development. Finally, Pakistan reaffirms its commitment to the 2030 Agenda and to working with all member states to build a more equitable, resilient, and sustainable world. I thank you.
Thank you, and I'll give the floor to Mr. George Soshitasvili, Councillor, Multilateral and Regional Economic Cooperation Division, International Economic Relations Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, it is a great honor for me to address the 81st session of the ESCAP and its participants today. Representing Georgia, a nation firmly dedicated to sustainable development, I would like to share our national experience and vision with you today. Despite significant challenges in the region, the country managed to maintain macroeconomic stability and take significant steps towards sustainable and inclusive economic development. Since 2021, Georgia has experienced stable and high economic growth. In 2021 and 2022, the economy of Georgia demonstrated double-digit economic growth, recorded at 10.6% and 11% respectively. The trend of high growth persisted in 23 and 24 as well, with economic growth reaching 7.8% and 9.4% respectively. The aforementioned economic growth rate was attributed to several factors, among which was successful economic reforms. Consequently, Georgia has attained notable standings across several recognized international rankings. Based on the World Bank's new report, Business Ready 2024, Georgia ranks the second in operational efficiency pillar and the third in regulatory framework pillar. According to Heritage Foundation's Index of Economic Freedom 2025, economic freedom score of Georgia is 69 with moderately free status, making its economy the 35th freest among 184 countries. On December 14, 2023, the European Council made a historic decision to grant Georgia the EU candidate status, opening up new opportunities for maintaining high economic growth and advancing its economic transformation. Georgia maintains a liberal trade policy and endeavors to sign more free trade agreements and to be actively engaged in international supply chains. As a result of targeted trade liberalization efforts, Georgia already has free trade with the EU, UK, Turkey, Ukraine, CIS, EFTA countries, United Arab Emirates, which open up tariff-free access to 2.5 billion consumer markets. Furthermore, negotiations towards the conclusion of free trade agreements are currently underway with a number of additional partner countries. Distinguished colleagues, Georgia's unique geographic location between Europe and Asia positions it as a vital connector in the region. The country is steadily evolving into a diverse and strategic regional hub. Thanks to substantial government efforts aimed at upgrading infrastructure, strengthening regional connectivity, and enhancing the efficiency of trade and logistics networks. The middle corridor passing through Georgia is gaining prominence as a dependable and secure alternative to traditional trade pathways. It has quickly established itself as one of the most efficient and time-saving east-west transport corridors, offering a viable option for increased regional and intercontinental trade. The Georgian government is heavily investing in large-scale infrastructure projects. The development of port infrastructure, including the Anaklia deep-sea port, is a priority to ensure our competitiveness. This greenfield public-private partnership project will create a state-of-the-art deep-sea port on the eastern coast of the Black Sea. The Anaklia deep-sea port is set to begin operations in 2029. Besides, Georgia has significant potential for power generation surplus from renewable energy sources to supply neighboring countries in the near future. We are planning to implement Black Sea submarine cable Georgia-Romania project, connecting South Caucasus region directly to the Eastern Europe via submarine cable crossing Black Sea. Its development will contribute to energy security of Europe and Caucasus region. Project will support development of renewable energy sector and increase transit opportunities, back-to-back trade options between Europe and South Caucasus region. As a result of this project implementation, which will connect the power systems of Georgia and Romania, Europe will be able to connect not only with Georgia, but with the entire South Caucasus region. Your Excellencies, I would like to use this opportunity and inform you that since 2015, the government of Georgia is organizing the high-level Silk Road Forum biannually. This year, on October 22-24, Tbilisi will host the 5th Tbilisi Silk Road Forum, a high-level event gathering high-ranking officials, government, and business leaders from over 60 countries. The forum serves as a proven platform to advance discussions on transport, energy, IT, and financial technology sectors, and find the best solutions for a more interconnected world. In conclusion, I would like to underline that Georgia remains firmly committed to the principles of sustainable development, aligning its national policies with the 2030 Agenda. Georgia, having made tangible progress in advancing inclusive development, environmental sustainability, and cross-border connectivity, is ready to assume a more active role as a regional facilitator and partner. With its strategic location and commitment to multilateral cooperation, Georgia stands prepared to serve as a dynamic hub for fostering dialogue, enhancing trade, transport, and energy linkages, and supporting shared regional initiatives. I thank you.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we will now have a video statement from His Excellency Mr. Iwaya Takeshi, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Japan. You can use your earphone for the English translation.
ご列席の皆様、日本国外務大臣の岩谷武です。はじめに3月28日のミャンマー中部を震源とする地震により亡くなられた方々とそのご遺族に深くお悔やみ申し上げます。そして被害に遭われた方々の一日も早いご回復と被災地の早期の復旧を心からお祈り申し上げます。ESCAP はアジア太平洋地域における知見の共有や能力構築の場として重要な役割を果たしてきました。自然災害や環境問題、少子高齢化など多様な社会問題が深刻化し、国際秩序がこれまでになく不安定になりつつある中で、その役割はますます重要となっています。日本はアジア太平洋地域がこうした諸課題への対応力を強化し、連携して取り組むことができるよう、ESCAP の活動を積極的に支えています。一例として、国連アジア太平洋統計研修所が190の国・地域の政府職員に研修を行い、統計分野の人材育成を進めることを支援してまいりました。また、さまざまな課題に対処する上で、我が国は人間の安全保障の理念を特に大切にしてきました。このような観点から、国内においては、防災のための国土強靭化や公害対策、少子高齢化に対応する社会保障制度の整備などの施策を進めています。こうした日本の知見は、アジア太平洋地域におけるさまざまな課題の解決に資するものであると確信しております。今日の世界が直面する困難を克服し、SDGs を達成するためには、我々の協力をさらに加速することが不可欠です。SDGs の達成期限である2030年まで残り5年となりました。日本は先頭に立ってこの挑戦に取り組んでまいります。本年、日本政府はビジネス界や地方自治体、市民社会、ユースなどの多様な関係者の皆さんの協力を得て、SDGs に関する自発的国家レビューを進めています。こうしたレビューを通じ、各国が直面する課題の解決に向けて、日本の知見を国際社会に積極的に還元していきたいと考えています。引き続き、ESCAP と緊密に連携し、アジア太平洋地域における知見の共有と、各国における能力構築に一層貢献していく考えです。ご清聴ありがとうございました。
Thank you. We'll also be listening to a video statement from the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Bhutan.
Your Excellency Ms. Armida Salcia Alice Jabana, UN Under-Secretary General and Executive Secretary of ESCAP, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I bring to you the warm greetings of His Majesty the King and people of Bhutan. At the outset, I wish to commend ESCAP for its steadfast commitment to fostering regional cooperation throughout the last 81 years. This has helped our region meet our changing needs and address our many challenges. The Asia-Pacific region remains a crucial driver of global growth. It is home to 60% of the global population and houses some of the world's most dynamic urban centers. At the same time, it is also faced with growing challenges ranging from climate change and environmental degradation to economic uncertainties and technological disruptions that continue to threaten our collective progress. These shared and interconnected challenges underscore the vital importance of regional cooperation. The theme of this session centered around regional cooperation for resilient and sustainable urban development is both timely and relevant. Since ESCAP's creation in 1947, urban development across the world has evolved considerably, more so now with technology revolutionizing urban efficiency and sustainability. The rapid pace of urbanization brings with it both opportunities and responsibilities to adopt innovative and inclusive approaches. Bhutan believes that urban development must prioritize the well-being of its people while safeguarding the environment. All development in Bhutan is premised on the ethos of sustainability, guided by our development philosophy of gross national happiness. The 13th Five-Year Plan and other strategies and policy instruments are geared towards ensuring that cities and settlements are inclusive, livable and affordable in accordance with SDG 11. For access to safe, affordable, accessible and sustainable transport, the government continues to invest in improving road and air networks. We are also investing in low-emission urban transport systems, including green public transport. Bhutan has now embarked on an innovative project, the Gelefu Mindfulness City or GMC in the south of Bhutan. Envisioned by His Majesty the King, the GMC integrates economic growth with mindfulness, holistic living and sustainability. Spanning 2,600 square kilometers of pristine forests and fertile farmlands, it will enable human innovation and natural ecosystems to thrive together while fostering human well-being, environmental sustainability and mindful living. Taking advantage of its strategic location at the crossroads of major economic regions of South Asia and Southeast Asia, the GMC is positioned to draw global investments not just into the city itself, but across the entire region. Given our shared challenges and geographic proximity, Bhutan firmly believes that regional partnerships play a pivotal role in driving economic growth, social progress, cultural exchange, people-to-people ties, and collective resilience in times of natural disasters. GMC presents a unique opportunity for our region to engage in a collaborative endeavor that transcends conventional urban development approaches. We believe that GMC can help promote ESCAP's goals of regional connectivity, economic integration and collaboration. I invite our fellow ESCAP member states to participate in this pioneering initiative so that we can draw upon our shared strengths and experiences to shape a better future. Similar to other countries, Bhutan's urban areas, in particular the larger cities, face typical problems associated with increased population, such as traffic congestion, low air quality, and waste management. In this context, the National Capital Region strategy has been developed for the Thimphu Paro Capital Region, the two most populous western districts, to transform it into one of the world's most livable areas by 2029. The strategy blends nature-based design with high-quality infrastructure, sustainable mobility, strategies to protect the region's unique heritage and landscapes, and nature hazard resilience, given our location in the seismically active Himalayan mountains. The devastating earthquake witnessed by two of our member states last month serves as a stark reminder of our vulnerability to natural disasters and emergencies. Given the threats of climate change and natural disasters, resilient and sustainable urban development have become more critical than ever. The Royal Government of Bhutan offer our deepest condolences to the governments and people of Myanmar and Thailand. The support and solidarity by our countries, particularly member states from our region, is highly encouraging. Such solidarity paves the way for faster recovery and reaffirms our collective humanity. As we deliberate on strategies to advance resilient and sustainable urban development, let us reaffirm our collective commitment to building cities that are not only engines of economic growth, but also protectors of social and environmental well-being. Bhutan stands ready to collaborate with our partners in the region and beyond in this important endeavor. I wish the 81st session of ESCAP all success and wish you all fruitful discussions. Thank you and Tashdele.
Yeah, thank you, Minister, for your very insightful statement. And now invite His Excellency Honorable Tingika Elikana, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration of the Cook Islands.
Honorable Chair, Excellencies, esteemed delegates and distinguished guests, Kia orana, and warm Cook Islands greeting to all. As this is the first time the Cook Islands taking the floor, please allow me to express what an honor it is to address this esteemed assembly on behalf of the government and people of the Cook Islands. I extend our deepest gratitude to the Kingdom of Thailand, its government and its people for their warm hospitality in hosting this 81st session of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific. Your commitment to fostering dialogue on sustainable development inspires us all. We also commend the leadership of Executive Secretary Ms. Amida Alice Jabana and the ESCAP team for their tireless efforts in advancing our region's shared aspirations. This year, the Cook Islands celebrates 60 years of self-governance, a milestone achieved in 1965 that embodies our resilience, innovation, and dedication to our people's well-being. As we mark this historical journey, we reflect on the vision of those before us who believe that our future is in our past. This wisdom guides us as we confront the multifaceted challenges of inclusive and sustainable development in our region, from economic vulnerabilities to social inequalities and the existential threat of climate change. As a small island developing state, the Cook Islands grapples with unique economic challenges. Our small open economy is highly susceptible to global financial shocks and commodity price fluctuations, which strain our limited fiscal resources. To address this, we are diversifying our economy through investment in digital infrastructure and renewable energy. Our digital inclusion program is bridging connectivity gaps equipping our people with digital skills to thrive in a global economy. Furthermore, we are advancing towards our goal of providing widespread renewable electricity across our nation by 2030. Socially, we are committed to fostering inclusivity and equality. Gender equality is a cornerstone of our development strategy, with programs empowering women and girls through education and economic opportunities. Environmentally, climate change poses our greatest threat. Rising sea levels, intensifying cyclones, and coral bleaching endanger our islands and livelihoods. Through our Marae Moana initiative, we protect 1.9 million square kilometers of ocean, balancing conservation with sustainable marine resource use. Coastal protection projects such as mangrove restoration and seawall construction safeguard our communities from erosion and storm surges. We are also enhancing disaster risk management with early warning systems and community-based training, integrating traditional knowledge with modern technology to build resilience. These efforts, however, require robust partnership. Our geographical isolation and resource constraints necessitate technical assistance funding and knowledge sharing from the international community. ESCAP's role as a platform for regional cooperation is invaluable, enabling us to collaborate with Pacific neighbors and beyond. Initiatives like the Pacific Resilience Facility Partnership exemplify our collective action can amplify our impact, from strengthening disaster risk financing to promoting renewable energy. As we stand at this critical juncture, the Cook Islands is keen to share our experiences and learn from others. Our renewable energy transition, marine conservation successes, and digital transformation initiatives offer lessons for small island development states, while we seek to adapt best practice from the region. Together, we can address the interlinked challenges of fiscal fragility, inequality, and climate vulnerability, forging a path to inclusive and sustainable development. In closing, I echo the spirit of our 60-year self-governance celebrations: unity, resilience, and hope. Let us seize this opportunity to harness collective action and innovation, ensuring a prosperous and equitable future for Asia and the Pacific. The Cook Islands stand ready to contribute to this noble endeavor, working hand in hand with our regional partners. Atawai wolo, atawai wolo, atawai wolo de maneke.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I now give the floor to Mr. Parson Lam, Director, Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office in Bangkok.
Your Excellencies, the Chairperson, Executive Secretary, and distinguished delegates. Hong Kong, China has all along been a very strong advocate of inclusive and sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific. We have actively participated in regional and global efforts to accelerate the progress towards full implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And today, I would like to take this opportunity to highlight a number of our initiatives in this regard. First, Hong Kong, China fully recognizes the importance of digital transformation in driving high-quality economic and social development. And in pursuing our digital transformation, we are always mindful and we are always ensure that any policies and new initiatives that we take would promote inclusiveness and inclusive growth. When we also make sure that they will not create any digital divide. For example, in July 2024, Hong Kong, China set up a new digital policy office to spearhead data-driven, people-centric, and outcome-based digital strategies. And the office has launched several initiatives to strengthen the cybersecurity awareness among small and medium-sized enterprises and to enhance the digital capabilities of small and medium-sized enterprises. To promote digital trade, we launched an e-commerce development task force in 2024 and rolled out the e-commerce easy funding scheme, providing up to $120,000 to help SMEs to tap into online market and scale up their digital operation. We are also investing heavily in artificial intelligence and new industrialization. Through targeted funding, we are supporting manufacturers, again including SMEs, to adopt smart production and foster the development of AI and robotics. Secondly, in advancing the energy transmission and reducing climate change, Hong Kong, China is leverage our strengths as an international financial center to mobilize green finance. We're committed to bridging the funding gap for green infrastructure and funding and technology through capital market solutions. Over the past 3 years, we have issued green bonds amounting to an annual average of $63 million to fund climate change-related projects. And beyond financing, we are also contributing to the global green standards setting and are building a voluntary carbon credit market through the Hong Kong Stock Exchange to support net zero ambitions. And the third aspect that I would like to share with you is our investment in people. Hong Kong China firmly believes that education and talent developments are crucial to long-term sustainability. We continue to invest heavily in attracting, nurturing, and retaining talents. In fact, Hong Kong is a global hub for post-secondary education, with 5 universities ranked among the world's top 100. Our investment in people have extended beyond Hong Kong. Through our Study in Hong Kong initiative, Hong Kong China has been attracting overseas students from all over the world and providing them with scholarships, in particular those from the ASEAN countries and Belt and Road countries, to study in Hong Kong. And apart from talent developments, Hong Kong China also fully recognizes the important role of women in our economic development. With equal opportunities in education and employment, women in Hong Kong are working in various professionals, are shining in various professionals, and taking up a variety of leadership roles in their own industries. In 2023, Hong Kong China set up a Women Empowerment Fund to support projects that help women from all backgrounds to unlock their potentials and advance professionally. Ladies and gentlemen, in the face of political, social, and environmental challenges ahead of us, I think Hong Kong China think the promotion of inclusiveness and sustainability is more important than ever. Hong Kong China will continue to contribute actively to regional cooperation in Asia and the Pacific, and we will continue to contribute to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Hong Kong China looks forward to regional cooperation in Asia and the Pacific to jointly address the challenges ahead of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'll call on His Excellency Mr. Han Jai-song, Ambassador Extraordinary and Potentially of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, to take the floor, please.
Mr. Chair, the delegation of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea congratulate you on election of the chairman of the 81st session of UN ESCAP and expect the present session will result in good fruits under your skilled chairmanship. And we are convinced that this session, guided by the theme of regional cooperation for resilient and sustainable urban development in Asia and the Pacific will be a meaningful occasion which encourages the sustainable and the consonant socio-economic development of Asia and the Pacific region. Mr. Chair, during past 10 years since 2030 agenda, reflecting the unanimous hope and the desire of the world people longing for peace and development was adopted. The efforts of mankind for implementing SDGs have borne certain fruits. However, the ceaseless occurrence of all kinds of pandemic, natural disaster, bloody disputes, and armed conflicts erect huge obstacles in the way of international society desiring progress, prosperity, and sustainable development. The PRK delegation, with the tenor of actively contributing to the discussion of President Sessions' themes, including accelerating 2030 agenda and promoting urban development and the stabilized progress of population, would like to mention the following issues. First of all, primary concern should be directed to create peaceful environment that can secure sustainable and healthy development of Asia and Pacific. To create a peaceful environment for existence and sustainable and healthy development of mankind is one of the main goals of 2030 agenda. However, today, on the international arena, due to the 13 countries' attempts for inter-camp confrontation and the group pairing, pursuing dominance and their own interests, all sorts of armed conflicts and geopolitical confrontation are still going on. This brings severe difficulties on the implementation of 2030 agenda. The international society should actively build environment necessary for implementing 2030 agenda by thoroughly rejecting all attempts blocking progress and the development of mankind and the storing up mistrust and confrontation among the countries. Next, the mutual cooperation among the countries of the region should be strengthened for effectively coping with the several factors, including climate changes, pandemic, and economic instability that badly influencing the progress of population and also spread and the share of urban development technology and the cooperation among the countries should be increased based on equality and mutual respect. It is important for each country and the region to make and fulfill appropriate population progress policy and the national action plans for realizing socio-economic equality and economic development, and to concentrate nationwide and social concerns, harmonize the efforts and investment on these affairs. In addition, joint efforts should be made for establishing a true partnership based on mutual respect for sovereign states' rights on independence and development and for advancement and prosperity of the region. Mr. Chair, under the wise leadership of the Comrade Kim Jong-un, President of the State Affairs of DPRK, the DPRK government is vigorously opening up the new era of all-round prosperity of the state under the banner of self-reliance. The implementation of a 5-year plan for state economic development is being made good headway. Drawing to a close, all the national economic sectors are being readjusted and reinforced, and not only capital city, but also local and rural areas are advancing in a multi-concurrent way. In all places of the country, the grand construction for creating better happiness and the culture of people is vigorously engaged. Thus, during recent years, the several stretches of peculiar style with the appearance of modern urban division have been built in Pyongyang, the capital city. This reality remarkably shows the growth feature and the advantages of self-supporting a national economy. These successes being achieved in urban development by the DPRK government will give happier living conditions to our people and will also actively promote the tourism industry. The DPRK government in the future too will fulfill its responsibility and role in implementing 2030 agenda and promoting urban development and stabilize the progress of the population, and will positively contribute to the international efforts for achieving resilient and sustainable socio-economic development in Asia and the Pacific region. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. And I'll give the floor to Your Honors Kenna, Counselor, Deputy Permanent Observer at ESCAP, Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany.
Thank you, Chair. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure and privilege to address you today on Germany's contribution to sustainable development and urbanization in the Asia-Pacific during this 81st session of the Commission. Germany would like to emphasize that climate change remains one of the main obstacles to sustainable development in this region and beyond. As we are currently experiencing a phase of profound political and economic turmoil and conflict, efforts towards sustainable development and global climate negotiations are becoming more and more challenging. But despite the numerous and seemingly more pressing crises around the world, the planetary crisis of climate change will not simply go away. On national level, governments have to grapple with a multitude of issues simultaneously, and climate change seems to take a backseat in some cases. At the subnational level, however, there is growing momentum for more active climate action. Although cities only cover 2% of the Earth's surface, they are responsible for 75% of global CO2 emissions and 70% of global energy consumption. At the same time, the greatest potential for emission and energy reduction also exists in urban areas. Thus, cities are not only causes, but also solutions to the problem, and therefore the topic of this year's Commission session is well chosen. Cities are also under great pressure to adapt to the impacts of climate change. Here in Bangkok, our host city, the Chulalongkorn Centenary Park is a good local example of how green infrastructure is contributing to climate resilience by reducing urban flood risks, as the park is serving as a rainwater detention basin. Yet globally, at COP28, the historic global stocktake decision showed that there's not being done enough yet with respect to reaching the Paris Agreement goals. Also at COP28, cities and other subnational actors played a larger role than ever before. The first local climate action summit with more than 500 mayors took place there, discussing the role of cities in climate action. This is also where the Coalition for High Ambition Multi-Level Partnerships, or CHAMP, initiative was launched. An initiative that commits countries to incorporate robust urban climate actions into their nationally determined contributions, NDCs, as well as enhance cooperation between local and national governments on planning, financing, and implementation. Germany is one of the countries that has endorsed CHAMP. The German government has been promoting climate action and biodiversity conservation in the Global South since 2008 through the International Climate Initiative, ICI. In the Asia-Pacific region, the ICI alone currently finances more than 15 urban development projects with a total budget of more than 150 million euros. In this context, we support partner countries and cities in developing strategies for sustainable, climate-friendly and resilient urban development and urban biodiversity. As an example, in the Asia-Pacific region, the ICI-funded Urban Act project supports a transformation towards low-carbon and resilient urban development. At the local level, the project supports 14 pilot cities to integrate climate change into urban plans and budgets. Cities are enabled to identify targeted measures for greenhouse gas emission reduction and resilience in fields such as urban mobility, urban environment, circular economy, and to leverage finance for the preparation and implementation of urban climate actions. In the area of adaptation to climate change, the focus is on strengthening urban resilience. The aim is to better prepare cities and disadvantaged neighborhoods for the challenges of climate change and to reduce risks to people, the environment, and livelihoods, for example, through nature-based solutions. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, Germany recognizes ESCAP's indispensable contribution to sustainability in the Asia-Pacific. We are grateful for ESCAP's remarkable work that is already being done in, for, and with cities of this region in these challenging times. Germany is a strong partner to support sustainable and resilient urban development in ESCAP member states. In total, we are currently supporting over 40 projects with a volume of more than 350 million euros across various topics ranging from health and social inclusion to climate resilience and sustainable transport solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, I also would like to use this opportunity to invite you to our country booth located on level 1, which is presented by the GIZ, to learn more about our projects in Thailand and the region, as well as a dedicated side event on sustainable buildings on Wednesday, which is jointly organized with our French colleagues. To conclude, let me assure you, Germany will continue to support the Asia-Pacific region and ESCAP in its mission towards a more sustainable development. I thank you.
I now invite Mr. Yang Tai Kim, Secretary General, International Transport Forum of the International Transport Forum, please.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to address this session on behalf of the International Transport Forum. The ITF stands firmly behind the ambition of inclusive and sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific. And we believe that transport needs to be at the heart of that vision. Transport is more than just a means of movement. It is a critical enabler of access to opportunities such as education, jobs, healthcare, and markets. It shapes people's ability to participate fully in society. But too often, mobility systems leave behind those who need them most. The ITF report, Sustainable Accessibility for All, calls for a shift in thinking. Rather than focusing solely on infrastructure or speed, we must ask, who can access what and under what conditions? And this means addressing the mobility needs of aged persons, the persons with disabilities, low-income groups, and those living in rural and peripheral areas. And accessibility must be designed into our systems from the outset. Inclusivity also requires recognizing and supporting the informal transport sector. So millions in the region rely daily on minibuses, tuk-tuks, motorcycle taxis, and other informal services. And these modes often fill essential gaps, especially for underserved communities. A recent report on incorporating informal transport in mobility planning shows how integrating informal operators into planning processes can enhance connectivity, reduce emissions, and improve working conditions. The formalization of informal transport must be inclusive, not punitive. Yet inclusion alone is not enough. The region is also confronted with the significant challenge of reducing carbon emissions in transportation. And if left unaddressed, increasing demand could lead to locking in high emissions. Through our Decarbonizing Transport in Emerging Economies initiative and the Sustainable Infrastructure Program in Asia, we support governments in countries such as Azerbaijan, India, Mongolia, and Philippines, and Uzbekistan to develop evidence-based pathways aligned with their climate goals. In Central and Southeast Asia, the CPAS studies also help identify investment strategies that make transport networks more efficient and sustainable. Whether through cleaner vehicles, freight corridors, or better urban mobility planning, our goal is to support practical, implementable measures that reduce CO2 emissions and improve resilience. These projects share a common thread with policy grounded in evidence and co-developed with local partners. Our modeling tools help decision makers test scenarios and make informed choices. This is especially important in a region where today's policy decisions will shape infrastructure and emissions for decades to come. And Excellencies, colleagues, the regional cooperation is essential. In transport systems, emissions do not stop at borders. The ITF supports efforts across Asia and the Pacific to align strategies, share knowledges, and advance a common vision for transport that is clean, inclusive, and future-ready. As we look ahead, the ITF remains a committed partner. We will continue to provide data, insights, and a platform for dialogue to help countries translate their ambitions into action. So together, we can ensure that no one is left behind on the journey to sustainable development. Thank you very much.
And I'll give the floor to Mr. Pakit Sultanov, the member of the board, Minister in charge of Economy and Financial Policy of the Eurasian Economic Commission.
Thank you, dear Chair, distinguished delegates, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor to address the 81st session of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, which is a vital United Nations platform that brings together our countries. The exchange of views within the framework of this session contributes significantly of the important mission of supporting economic development, regional and inter-regional cooperation, as well as advancing the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. I would like to highlight the role of the Eurasian Economic Union in promoting inclusiveness and sustainable development across the Eurasian region. Established in 2015, our union has become a key instrument for deepened economic integration among the member states, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Russia. At the same time, the impact of the integration processes taking place in the Union extends beyond its borders, fostering positive effects on the neighboring regions, particularly Central Asia. The Eurasian Economic Union promotes inclusive and sustainable development in the region through a number of core mechanisms. Foremost among these is the establishment of a common market that ensures free movement of goods, services, capital, and labor. This framework promotes economic growth, opens new business horizons, and employment opportunities. By eliminating barriers, unifying technical regulations, and removing customs controls in mutual trade, the member countries gain access to expanded markets and new investment opportunities. Over the past decade of the Eurasian Union's functioning, mutual trade volumes has almost doubled and approaching $100 billion. Liberalized conditions of trade and services play an increasingly significant role in the economic development of states and regions. The development of a common market of services within the Union opens up new opportunities for entrepreneurs by granting the right to operate in another member state with the permit issued in the member state of establishment. Today, already 142 service sectors operating in the common market regime. The free movement of labor within our union ensures that millions of citizens have employment opportunities with guaranteed labor and social rights. This includes mutual recognition of education qualifications, removal of employment restrictions, and access to health insurance. Pursuant of the treaty and the Eurasian Economic Union, active work is underway to harmonize national financial legislation and to shape a legal framework for establishing a common financial market. Investment cooperation is another pillar of our sustainable development agenda. The Union is actively engaged in creating a favorable investment climate by improving investors' protection mechanisms and simplifying regulatory procedures. This allows attracting capital to infrastructure, industrial, and innovation projects, in turn that contributes to economic modernization and job creation. Our international organization attached particular importance to enabling entrepreneurship development, including simplified procedures for incorporation in and operation of companies and access to finance. Within our Eurasian Union, a regulatory framework was established last year to finance joint industrial projects of the states through subsidies in the amount of the key interest rate. 2 such projects were approved early this year. One of the Union's priorities is the creation of the efficient transport and logistic network, as well as the transit potential development. The implementation of joint projects and the arrangement of multimodal transport corridors, such as north-south and east-west, helps strengthen connections between the countries of the region, facilitates trade and transit of goods. This is especially important for landlocked states as improved transport connectivity facilitates in the regional integration of their economies into global supply chains. Digitalization is at the heart of these efforts. In this regard, member states are advancing system for digital labeling for goods and labeling of goods and simplifying customs procedures using electronic documents. Such initiatives help reduce administrative barriers, accelerate trade flow and transit, and ensure transparency of economic processes. Furthermore, the Union has concluded free trade area arrangement with Vietnam and Serbia, plus a new agreement with Iran will enter into force on May 15, replacing the current interim arrangement. These agreements are instrumental in expanding the Union's trade network and fostering deeper economic linkages. Dear colleagues, all these Eurasian Union activities are fully linked with the ESCAP goals for building an inclusive, innovative, and sustainable economy in the region. I'm convinced that enhanced cooperation between our organizations is the foundation for shaping best practices and implementing joint projects aimed at long-term development. The potential for interaction between the Eurasian Economic Union and the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific continues to expand, contributing to the social and economic development of the macro region. Thank you for your attention.
And I'll call on Ms. Sinta Wijaja Kamtani, Chair of the ESCAP Sustainable Business Network, Chief Executive Officer of the Sintesa Group, and Chairman of the Indonesian Employers Association.
Thank you, Chair. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, as Chair of the ESCAP Sustainable Business Network, I'm honored to contribute to this timely discussion on sustainable and resilient urban development in Asia and the Pacific. Our region urban transformation is both a pressing challenge and a tremendous opportunity, one that requires decisive, inclusive, and innovative actions. With more than 2.2 billion people residing in cities and contributing to over 80% of the region GDP, urban areas are central to our development agenda. Yet, these same cities are increasingly exposed to climate-related risk, infrastructure deficits, and widening social disparities. To address these challenges, the private sector must be seen not only as a source of capital, but as a co-creator of solution. At ESBN, we have been working to reimagine how the private sector can lead in building energy efficient, inclusive, and digitally enabled cities. On 10th of April, we convened regional private sector leaders in Kuala Lumpur, culminating in the Kuala Lumpur Business Leaders Declaration. This declaration reaffirmed the business community collective commitment to sustainability and resilience with a focus on climate action, innovation, and inclusive growth. Critically, it emphasized the need to invest in sustainable infrastructure that support urban systems such as energy, water, transport, and waste, built on circular economy principles and digital transformation. This declaration builds upon and reinforces the Asia-Pacific Green Deal for Business, our flagship initiative launched in 2022. Through this initiative, ESBN has mobilized business across the region to align their operation and investment with sustainability goals. One of its key pillars is precisely what we are discussing today, supporting infrastructure that underpins sustainable urban development, whether through clean energy integration, smart building technologies, or climate-resilient construction. Private enterprises are already delivering tangible solutions on the ground. From Jakarta award-winning flood control system to low-carbon building retrofits and the use of recycled materials in construction, ESBN members are actively demonstrating that green business is not just a good policy, it is smart economics. But private sector leadership must be met by enabling policy environments. To scale this impact, we must continue fostering strong public-private partnership. Government play a critical role in creating enabling environment through integrated national urban policies, innovating financing mechanism, and multi-level data system that guide investment where it's needed most. ESBN stands ready to support member states through continued policy dialogue, technical support through advisory services and position papers, and regional platform for sharing knowledge and expertise. Together, we can turn our cities into engines of sustainable inclusion and innovation. Let us seize this opportunity to harness the full potential of the public-private collaboration and deliver on the promise of the 2030 Agenda for our people, our planet, and our shared prosperity. Thank you very much.
I now call on Ms. Catherine Clarkson, Head of IFRC, Country Cluster Delegation for Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, and Permanent Observer of IFRC to UN ESCAP. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies and our 52 national societies across Asia and the Pacific, we welcome the 81st session of the ESCAP Commission and the focus on regional cooperation for resilient and sustainable urban development. Urbanization in this region is rapid, but so too are the risks: climate change, migration, public health emergencies, and inequity. Cities are increasingly on the front line of these intersecting challenges, and to be resilient, their development must be inclusive, community-centered, and risk-informed. The IFRC and our network of national societies are taking action across the region to strengthen urban resilience in some of the world's most disaster-prone and densely populated contexts. We support urban communities to anticipate, withstand, and recover from shocks through initiatives like anticipatory action, urban disaster risk reduction, and strengthening legal frameworks for disasters. We work closely with local governments to conduct urban risk assessments, strengthen preparedness in informal settlements, and expand early warning systems under the Early Warnings for All initiative, together with our partners, UNDRR, WMO, and ITU. As we discuss progress on resilient and sustainable urban development, we call on governments to take 4 actions. First, invest in localized, people-centered urban resilience by empowering communities and local actors like our Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. Second, invest in and scale up anticipatory action and early warning systems that reach the last mile. While many good investments have been made in early warning systems, they are still not reaching everyone in time to save lives and livelihoods. 3, strengthen climate and disaster risk governance across urban planning, health, infrastructure, and services. And lastly, update and strengthen domestic disaster legislation and frameworks, including supporting the regulation of international assistance in line with the draft articles on the protection of persons in the event of disasters. The IFRC stands ready to deepen collaboration with governments and partners to accelerate inclusive and sustainable urban resilience. Together, we can build cities that are not only stronger, but safer and more equitable and prepared for the future. Thank you.
Now give the floor to Mr. Yori Kato, IOM Regional Director for Asia and the Pacific.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, dear colleagues, it is an honor for the International Organization for Migration to address this 81st session of the ESCAP. Before I begin, I wish to convey IOM's deepest condolences to the people of Myanmar and Thailand in the aftermath of the devastating earthquake. We honor the victims and all those affected and commend the swift regional solidarity demonstrated in the response, a testament to the shared values and mutual support that define our region. Distinguished delegates, across Asia and the Pacific, migrants have been a powerful driver of sustainable development for individuals, cities, and countries of origin, transit, and destinations alike. The theme of this session is timely because migration and urbanization are 2 of the most powerful forces that are shaping our world today. Nearly half of all internally displaced persons, IDPs, move to urban areas. Urban growth, shaped by migration, offers immense promise. Migrants are agents of innovation and resilience, contributing to vibrant labor markets and social and cultural diversity. And yet, this potential cannot be realized without inclusive urban planning. Unplanned urbanization, combined with poor migration governance, can put pressure on basic services and infrastructure and deepen inequalities. Local authorities who are at the front lines are facing mounting challenges, from climate emergencies to health pandemics and economic uncertainty. We must act, and we must act now, with only a few years left until the target date to achieve the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. We would urge member states to 1, expand safe and regular migration pathways, particularly for women, youth, and low-skilled workers. 2, ensure equitable access to quality social services, health, education, housing, decent jobs, and protection, regardless of migrant status. And 3, enrich data and evidence to better understand and manage mobility trends and risks, which will also help reduce irregular migration and enhance climate resilience. IOM stands committed to working alongside member states, regional bodies, local actors, civil societies, and private sector to turn our collective aspirations for promoting safe, orderly, and regular migration into reality. Dear colleagues, together we can harness the full potential of migration for brighter, more sustainable future of Asia and the Pacific. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And I'll give the floor to Ms. Jitapa Jinda, Humanitarian Affairs Advisor of the International Committee of the Red Cross.
Honorable Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the ICRC welcomed the opportunity to draw attention to two pressing humanitarian issues that are critical to achieving inclusive and sustainable development. First, the urbanization of armed conflict. Cities, one symbol of progress, are increasingly becoming battlegrounds. When essential service collapse under the weight of warfare, civilians bear the brunt. His hospital shut down, essential service fail, and communities are uprooted. These are not just humanitarian crises, they are setback to recovery, stability, and long-term development. Protecting civilian population and infrastructure in armed conflicts in urban settings is not a choice. It is a legal obligation under international humanitarian law. We call on states to uphold this duty to safeguarding essential services, reinforcing critical infrastructure, and addressing the needs of displaced population in urban environments. We further appeal states to endorse and faithfully implement commitments made under the Political Declaration on Explosive Weapons in Populated Areas. Second, the military use of information and communication technologies in armed conflict poses urgent risks to civilian and protected objects. The ICRC has observed cyber and information operations targeting civilians, endangering lives, and disrupting vital humanitarian services. We urge states to uphold IHL, ensuring the protection of civilian, critical infrastructure, medical and humanitarian personnel and facilities, and cultural properties from the risks associated with ICT activities. To support states in addressing these evolving challenges, the ICRC, together with 6 states, has launched a global initiative to galvanize political commitment on international humanitarian law. This initiative aims to strengthen political commitment of states on IHL and generate practical guidance on key issues such as the use of ICTs in conflict and the protection of civilian infrastructure. The participation of Asia-Pacific states will be essential. We invite your engagement to help shape this initiative and ensure it responds to today's most pressing humanitarian realities. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll invite Mr. Deng Che, Director Division of the Asia and the Pacific Department of Technical Cooperation, International Atomic Energy Agency.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to deliver this statement on behalf of International Atomic Energy Agency. I'd like to first thank ESCAP for bringing us together for this year's discussion. And at the recent Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development, the key messages were clear. We need to act faster, invest smarter, and work together for 2030 agenda. As a science-based development partner, our technical cooperation program deliver practical nuclear solution in health, agriculture, energy, and environment, always demand-driven and tailored to national needs. In the health sector, nuclear science is saving lives. Over 5 million people die every year of cancer in Asia, with 70% from developing countries. with 60 years experience in fighting against cancer with WHO. Our Rays of Hope initiative help provide cancer care equipment, health system assessments, and most importantly, training the specialists that deliver life-saving care for those that need it at the most. Beyond Health, our Atoms for Food initiative with FAO strengthening food security for 300 million people in Asia through climate-adapted crops and safer and more productive food systems. Supporting this, our Zodiac initiative and Wet Lab network also help countries detect animal diseases earlier to prepare for pandemics, especially in the most vulnerable areas. Nuclear science also supports ocean health through our New Tech Plastic Initiative. Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand are piloting advanced plastic recycling that's now moving to industrial scale. We also help countries monitor ocean health with nuclear techniques, generating high-quality data for science-based policymaking. Clean energy is also a priority, and our Atoms for Net Zero initiative is helping countries assess how nuclear energy can offer a reliable and low-carbon solution for supporting energy security while meeting climate commitments. We also provide technical guidance and training to countries exploring small modular reactors for future energy planning. These transitions require long-term investment and strong foundations, and our REDIP project is helping countries build strong regulatory systems for safe nuclear technology use. To sustain our impact, we also strengthening partnerships through regional platforms like RCA and SAPI at the sub-regional level for the Pacific Islands. These cooperation mechanisms help countries share knowledge and engage with development partners to attract financing and scale solutions as we move towards more sustainable and planned investment models. The IAEA is also investing heavily in next generation. Through education programs like Women in Nuclear, the Marie Curie Fellowship, and nuclear science education at secondary schools and universities, we are providing opportunities to help more young people, especially women, enter the nuclear field and build stronger scientific networks in the region. Excellencies, the IAEA remains a committed partners in this region.
Distinguished delegate from IAEA, could you please wrap up your statement?
Okay.
Thank you.
I think, we look forward to continue collaboration with ESCAP. I thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we have now concluded the deliberations of this agenda item and now turn to statements in exercise of the right of reply, given the exercise of the right of reply has been requested. In this connection, I would like to remind all delegations that statements in the exercise of the right of reply are limited to 3 minutes for the first intervention and to 2 minutes for the second intervention. And I'll give the floor to the representative of the United States of America.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The United States exercises its right to reply to the comments made earlier this morning from one delegation criticizing recent U.S. trade actions. I remind delegates that the theme for this year's commission is on regional cooperation for resilient and sustainable urban development, and is not a forum on international trade. We strongly reject one member state's gross mischaracterization of US trade policies in order to bolster its own regional standing. The United States will not apologize for defending the legitimate rights of American workers, farmers, and companies that have faced longstanding tariff and non-tariff barriers from many trading partners. The President has taken bold action to recalibrate international trade to be more balanced and fair. Instead of seeking a path forward, however, one country continues its unfair trading practices that have hurt the United States and our workers and farmers, as well as market economies around the world. President Trump has been clear: if trading partners align with our effort to achieve fairness and balance in our trading relationships and protect US economic and national security, we will welcome this cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, the distinguished delegate of the United States of America. And that brings China. Okay, China would like to reply.
谢谢主席。中国代表团在听了美国代表所做的所谓答辩权发言之后，想发表以下的评论。我们认为美国代表所做的发言是根本上站不住脚的。我们中国代表团想强调，国家之间开展经贸往来，动力源自各自的比例优势和国际分工，源自生产和消费需求。以中美贸易为例，中国在货物贸易方面对美国存在顺差，但美国在服务贸易方面对中国保持巨额的顺差。此外，在华的美国企业的出口也被计入到了中方的顺差当中。综合考虑上述因素，中美经贸往来获益大致是平等的，本质是互利共赢的。也就是说，美方滥施关税的这种所谓的理由是完全站不住脚的。我想再次指出，贸易战是没有赢家的，保护主义也不会有任何的出路。我们敦促美方正视国际社会和他们国内各方的理性的声音，在纠错方面迈出一大步，回到相互尊重、通过平等对话解决分歧的正确道路上来。谢谢。
Yeah, thank you, China. And I now call on the representative of the United States of America for a second intervention, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The United States will not idly observe the unbalanced economic relationship with China, driven by Beijing's unfair and anti-competitive trade policies and practices. Beijing must end its systemic unfair trade practices and open its markets to US goods. For decades, China's unfair subsidies have driven out US competition, and its industrial policies drive the IP theft of US technology. Beijing has also taken non-tariff actions aimed at hurting US farmers and ranchers. China cites unjustified reasons to ban specific US exporters of soybeans, lumber, sorghum, poultry, and prevent US exports of beef, pork, dairy, and seafood. To reiterate, if trading partners align with our efforts to achieve fairness and balance in our trading relationships and protect US economic and national security, we will welcome this cooperation. Thank you.
Yeah, China, I call on Representative of China for a second intervention, please.
谢谢主席。
我想再次指出，美方出于一己之私，将关税作为实施极限施压、谋取私利的武器，严重侵犯各国正当的利益，也严重违反世贸组织的规则，严重损害了以规则为基础的多边贸易体制，严重冲击了全球的经济秩序稳定。这一点已经为广大的国际社会所认识到，所以华盛顿应该改弦更张，他们应该意识到，他们的这种做法是将自身的利益凌驾于国际社会的公利，是以牺牲全世界各国的正当利益，服务于美国的霸权利益。中国采取必要的反制措施来反对美国的欺凌霸行行径，既是为了维护中方自身的主权、安全、发展利益，也是为了维护国际公平正义，维护国际社会的共同利益。谢谢。
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, this brings us to the end of our proceedings for today. I will now call on the Secretariat to make an announcement.
Thank you, Chair. Very briefly, just would like to inform all delegates that tomorrow morning at 8:45, prior to the start of the plenary session at 9 a.m., there will be the reopening ceremony for Conference Room 1, the renovations of which have just been completed. And we encourage participants to attend to get a preview of the new features of this new state-of-the-art conference room that we will have from tomorrow onwards. I'm also pleased to remind everyone that the Executive Secretary and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Thailand are hosting a reception for all the participants of the Commission, and after the conclusion of this afternoon at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. All the participants are welcome to join, and transportation has been arranged for participants between this conference center and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The buses are scheduled to leave at 5:45 and 6:15 p.m. Outside the compound near the Commission session billboard, and return transportation will be available to depart the Ministry at 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Secretary of the Commission. On this note, I adjourn this meeting. We shall reconvene at 9 a.m. Sharp tomorrow, Tuesday, 22nd April. The meeting is adjourned.